Like, this happens with all kinds of games. Yeah, he's totally right. Is that, yeah, people that are giving feedback to the game and saying they don't like something, like, the worst thing to have isn't hate, it's apathy. Because if people hate something, that means they want it to get better. If people are apathetic to it, that means they don't care if it gets better.
Why I'm making this video, because people said I don't want to play like a fat ugly bitch with Caesar pronouns, and you guys said if you don't like it, don't play it, and people didn't play it, and the game fucking died, and it was well deserved. Now you understand why it is so stupid to say if you don't like it, don't play it.
True.
I am not saying that Concord failed because of that. Obviously it failed because the game sucks, but
it didn't make it any better, and it certainly made it easier for it to fail. Absolutely.
A factor that people said if you don't like it, don't play it, and you see that not playing the game and a lot of people not playing the game leads to the game dying, because the most important thing is having people playing the game. Brother, today is something common that when someone recommends a game to you, you go and look how many players does this game has to see if it is worth it to invest your time in a game.
And that dude, he's totally right. Like, nobody wants to invest their time into a game that's dying. So, like, that's what happens, right? Is like, as soon as an MMO starts losing momentum, what ends up happening is that then people start quitting, and then people aren't, basically it's the same as like anything. Like, why do things die? They usually die because they are losing cells at a rate that is faster than the cells are being regenerated. Very, very simple, very easy to understand, right? That's how aging works. And so that's the death spiral. And so that's exactly what happens with these games, is each individual person is a fucking cell. There you go. And that's how it is. Very demure. What the fuck do you mean by that? Yeah, anyway, if you see a game is going downhill, and it's like yesterday or last month, it had twice as many players as it does now, who the fuck wants to sign up to be on a sinking ship?
Scouts have found a
nobody.
Planet. Go ahead. Control group created.
That is popular and it's not going to die down. So, a friend recommended a MMO to me, and you go and look, New World. Let's see how is New World doing. And you see that it has less than 5K.
Here's the exact same example. Yeah, there it is. It's the exact same fucking example.
Players, and you say, fuck this, I am not playing this, I am not investing my time in this because this is dying. Do you understand why it is important having a player base and not pushing them back saying, if you don't like it, don't play it? Because
say that enough times and then people will actually do it, and then you've got nothing. That's what happens. Yeah, people said the same thing with WoW too.
Trying to improve the game with constructive because they are trying to improve the game with constructive criticism, brother. You can like something as a whole, but have some parts of it that you don't like, that you want to see improve.
That's with everything. Yeah, like even good games.
But I think that a lot of the hero talents suck dick, and I want them to see them improve. Does that mean that I hate the game, that I shouldn't play it? No, it just means that I want this particular thing to be improved, and I am going to...
This happens with every game that has, like, a fanatical audience. It happens with every single one of them. Because what ends up happening is that people become so emotionally invested into it that any criticism is seen as a personal attack from them. It's so stupid.
Whine about it
so dumb.
They improve it. You don't have to like every single part of something, brother. For example, I am sure you have
this game sucks. I'll play it 14 hours a day.
Friends that you love with all your heart, and they have some things that you don't like, or
that's the same with everything.
Think that they should improve.
100%.
And that doesn't mean you don't love them, brother. Are you understanding? That is why I think that saying if you don't like it, don't play it is for stupid people that don't have foresight. When someone says...
It's people that are coping. Like, if you've got to say that at a certain... And, like, I mean, to an extent that it's true, right? If you don't like something, don't play it. It's like... There is an element of this that is true. It's like if you're playing a game and it's making you mad, you're always mad, you're getting upset, constantly frustrated, and you're mad about the game all the time. Yes, you 100% should stop playing the game.
to me, if you don't like it, don't play it. I automatically think that they are brain dead because they are incapable of visualizing a future where people listen to them and they don't play it and the game dies down.
That's
and
right.
then the thousands of dollars they spend in ridiculous skins for their disgusting waifus are evaporated because the servers are shut down and the company declares bankruptcy, and then they lay off 500 employees, and one of those employees goes to Twitter to write that gamers suck and that is why the game dies down, and then they blame Asmongold because he found them for 15 videos talking about how the game is shit.
Yep.
And they are incapable of thinking that it died because
True,
of
it's
them,
my fault.
because they
I did
push
this.
people away with their bullshit. That is why saying if you don't like it, don't play it is a stupid. You a stupid motherfucker. Fuck.
He's fucking right. He's absolutely fucking right.
Shields down, Commander.
Yes, it's annoying.
The plan.
It's so fucking annoying. Yeah, you say, oh, well, if you don't like it, don't play it. Hey, be careful. People might take your advice.
I am going to get a heart attack, brother.
Yeah,
This isn't possible, my dude.
it's sad.
There are no two words in the English language more harmful
We're losing ground.
than
Don't play it. Brother, I always say, I want to be loved. I am a Christian man. I always want to show love. But this is like a trigger for me. Like, you know, that game, Dustborn, that is also a bullshit game that they said when you say something
Oh,
stupid, they
God.
say trigger. If you don't like it, don't play it.
Yeah, I know
It's
what he's
the
talking
trigger
about.
for me. Like someone says, oh, you are ugly, fat, and I fuck your mother. Yeah, man, for sure, all is cool. They say, oh, you come for a third world shithole and your accent sucks. That is true, my man. That is completely true.
Yeah,
And then
who
they
cares?
Say, hey, if you don't like it, don't play it. What the fuck did you say to me, motherfucker? And that is everything that I wanted to tell you today, guys.
I think that a lot of people, like, what's very annoying is that so many people are dismissive of the opinions of other people that don't see things the same way that they do. And I think that it's just very annoying. That's the reason why. It's just extremely fucking annoying.
saying that Concord proved my point. It is awesome
It
when
is,
reality
absolutely.
proves your concepts and what you are
Yes.
saying in your videos, brother. And that just happened. I said, saying this is a stupid. Reality proved me
Somebody just said something in chat that was really, 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 really funny. I never thought about it, but you probably made more money discussing Concord than Concord itself.
Can we still turn the tide in our favor? Where to, Commander? Yes, Commander. Ready for orders. This won't be so easy.
That's crazy.
Where to, Commander? Transmission
Wow.
received.
Well, ain't that some? That's amazing. We're gonna have to check the statistics on that one. That's nuts.
right. It is awesome.
Yeah.
It feels great. So I am also educating you so you don't say this anymore because this makes people
Hopefully.
look like an idiot, in my opinion. So yes, guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about this whole situation. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a clown? Am I completely wrong? And it is fine to say if you don't like it, don't play it. The Concord proved me right, or it doesn't have anything to do. The game
Well,
just
it's okay to say that, but saying if you don't like it, don't play it doesn't make the person wrong.
Research complete.
Like, it doesn't make their argument wrong if you tell them don't play the game. If someone says, like, yeah, I think this is functioning badly, saying don't play the game doesn't make them right or wrong. It's a completely separate conversation.
Good day,
So
Commander.
what are you talking about? If you don't like it, don't play
Yep.
it. Let me know everything in the comments below. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me.
Didn't the devs
only
also call them
comments I don't
talentless?
like
Yes.
are the ones that say if you don't like it, don't play it.
I thought that was
Guys, also
hilarious,
remember
by
to
the
like
way.
the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Help me out, my dude. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. And remember, don't be afraid ever because this is just a ride.
Bro,
Prepared to engage. We might need
that
some
certainly
backup.
was a ride. I'll link you guys a video.
losing
Yeah,
ground.
I've seen Jazzerus's videos before. I think I've watched one or two of them. Yeah, there's the video. Give it a like. This guy, I think he's got great energy. He's funny, and I think he's right. You know, the accents are right. Yeah, I think so. And Jack, you're gonna like I've always awesome. Yeah, this was really good, man. And I think that there's more and more people to say this. Someone said Trump got shot again. Trump didn't get shot. What are you talking about? Like, they put bulletproof glass in front of, like, everything around him. So, I think he's even in chat. Yeah, Jazzarus is in chat. Jazzarus_. There he is. Yeah, thanks for the video. Yeah, someone in chat said it? Well, I mean, fuck. I guess he did. Damn. There you go. And so, yeah, anyway, what again? Trump's in the chat. Yeah, there it is. And so, I think it's funny that people go and they say, oh, well, just don't, if you don't like it, don't play it. And then when people do that, everybody gets mad. They're like, well, why did this fail? Why did this happen? I'm sorry.
Pay up. Mining upgrade complete. No armor! What now? Control group created.
So the elephant in the room, coming off of the wild, crazy success of Concord, is whether or not PlayStation is going to change their approach to live service games. Because at the very least, whether you think Concord's a really good game, whether you think it's a really boring game, or you think it's bad, doesn't really matter. The effect and the conclusion you should reach is that something didn't work. Right?
Who knows?
Thing did not work properly.
Give the order.
I do have to say though, from Sony's perspective, they actually made the best consumer-friendly decision they could have made.
Yes, sir.
Where they refunded everybody's money completely, and they said, that's it, we're done, we're sorry. This was the most consumer-friendly option they could have gone with.
Game is even okay and everything else goes well, it should at least have a chance of success. But something didn't work here, and Sony's approach should be to figure out what that was. Now, I think it's a combination of many things. For one, just at the outset, I don't think anybody was particularly intrigued by the concept of the game. I think it looked kind of cringy to
Everything
begin with.
about it was
so
bad.
people were already kind of like, And then they found out they were going to have to pay $40 for it.
Got a job for me?
Really not a fan of that. And
I'm going to have an unpopular opinion. I don't think that the $40 price tag played even 5% of the role of the game not being successful.
I'll do my best.
I don't. I don't think it had really anything to do with it. And here I've got 2 points on a graph that I can give you guys for why I agree, why I think that. Number one, Helldivers 2. Everybody bought the game. It was still very popular, and it costed $40. Pretty much a one-to-one, right? And here's number two, which is the fact that Concord had a beta weekend. They had 2 beta weekends. They had a paid beta weekend, and then they had a free beta weekend. And the paid beta weekend, because it was the first weekend, had more players than the free one. So even when the game was in a completely free state of play, people still chose to not play the game. If that doesn't prove it, then what does?
Control group
And
created.
then the narrative started building and building that nobody was playing it, nobody was interested. And once that narrative takes hold, your live service game is dead. Because nobody's going to spend $40 to get into a game that they're not going to be able to play in a few weeks because the player count will be so low.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do that. So
This happens to MMOs, right? It's like the circling the drain, the death spiral. Was an Overwatch $60 at launch? Nobody cares about the money. People are going to, like, again, people will find a way to get the money together if the game is good enough. Was Overwatch 40? I remember it being 60, but I don't really remember, honestly. Maybe it was 40. Overwatch launch was hype? Yeah, and to be honest, that was years ago, right? So the culture's changed.
On the sidelines. Because why would they? Why would they throw $40 away effectively? So I think there were many things that stacked into Concord's demise, but now the question is, how does Sony handle their stuff moving forward? Because bear in mind, they have other live service games that are coming in the next few months, next year, next 2 years, that are actively in the works. Like, these are coming, and they're going to be influenced by Concord, no doubt. So there's a lot of things to.
That guy donated and it said Concord player base equals capacity of the plane Concord, which is really fucking funny. Because just like Concord, the game was discontinued, the Concord plane was also discontinued.
No armor!
To kind of stack into this. Money laundering.
It's so good.
Is that the grand strategy?
Yeah.
I won't
So
let you down.
I think Sony at this point
Logistics upgrade
should
complete.
be looking at some of the competition, and they should be looking at games like Suicide Squad,
do my best.
which launched
I'm on it.
70.
This is a
had
competition of who can lose the most money.
narrative vignettes. Certainly,
Yeah.
they tried to sell it as
for
being, it has the most cutscenes of any game we've ever made.
Wow.
I mean, granted, there's only 2 hours of gameplay,
Civilian
but
research complete.
and we repeat that for dozens of hours across the seasons. But still, whatever. Shut up. But they should look at that and acknowledge that. Skull and Bones also been memed on a lot. It's actually performing the best on Steam, at least.
That's crazy. 1,500 players. That's a lot of people. I mean, for only $100 million for the first quadruple A game, 1,500 players. Wow.
Of any of these games, and it also is a huge game on console and on I mean, huge is generous, but it's much bigger on console and the Ubisoft launcher. So
Sure, I would assume that
they
probably has
presumably
like
have a lot of
10K.
people actually playing Skull and Bones right now on a Friday morning, in the US, which is honestly pretty surprising. I did not think.
Sure.
If you rewound the clocks to like November of last year, I would have thought that Skull and Bones would probably be the most dead of all of these games, but no, it's actually performing the best, which is really funny. Yeah, the quadruple A
I
investment.
can't see why. That game looks so terrible. But I think also, like, I don't think that people understand how much negative feedback can affect a game. Like, there are games that effectively get aborted. Like, they're not even released yet and they're dead. They're, like, people have already made up their mind that the game's dead. And I've seen it happen with, like, probably 10 games this year. It's actually crazy.
Civilian structure complete.
Like Blue Protocol. Yeah, exactly. Blue Protocol. I mean, like, I think Throne of Liberty is going that direction too. Like, it's really problematic. And the reason why is that, like, first impressions and, like, people, like, obviously you have, like, these super casual gamers.
Yes,
But
Commander, at once.
those casual gamers
Scouts have found a
can't,
colonizable planet.
by the nature of the fact that they're so casual, that, like, they heard about Diablo 4 because they saw a
Easily done.
commercial for it on TV. Those people aren't really going to stick around and spend a lot of money.
Plotting
They're
to
probably just going to buy the
coordinates.
game and that's about it.
Civilian structure complete.
So you don't build a community on those people.
Doubt, didn't they? And then on the flip side, other games like Deadlock, which
Civilian
isn't even
structure
announced
complete.
yet
Dude,
for
I feel so bad that I haven't played this yet. I need to play this game.
like it doesn't have a release date
Yeah.
announced yet. It's
I've had
not
a lot
even,
of
like,
friends of
a
mine tell me
thing.
I need to
they
play.
did reveal it technically, so they did do like an early
Yeah.
development reveal drop mini trailer kind of thing.
fun,
as
very
you can
fast
see
game.
here.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
watched a
it.
little bit.
Like it was at 90,000 players while it was still unannounced. That's ridiculous.
Insane.
That's ridiculous. But it's because you've had streamers that have played it and have fallen in love with it. Shroud, famously.
I don't even agree with that because before Shroud even played the game on stream, it was still going up in players. Because, like, they finally lifted the NDA on the game, but even before the NDA, it already had, like,
Give the order.
40,
Yes, sir.
50, 60, 70,000 people playing. It's Valve?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
I won't let
I mean,
you
I
down.
think that the reception of CS2 has been pretty
I'm on it.
lukewarm.
Ready for orders.
I'll be honest.
Yes,
I think
Commander.
people have had a pretty
Ready
negative
for
reception of
battle.
CS2.
Targets
Compare
in
that
sight.
over to Deadlock,
Let's take 'em
and
out.
Deadlock has had a
I'll
great
make this
reception.
Short and sweet. Start
tweeted
making
out or
your
didn't
dinner
tweet it. It was on a stream.
This
He
won't
said
take
that
long.
he has no doubt that
where
Deadlock is
to,
going to be the
Commander?
biggest game probably in the
Transmission
world
received.
within months of it launching. Because he's like, it's honestly that fun. It's just very, very good. Whether that ends up being true, I don't know.
I wonder if he's
much more
right.
qualified to talk about these types of games than
Yeah.
me. But at the very least, it shows you that it's not
day,
about
Commander.
marketing dollars.
Yes,
It's not
Commander.
about,
It's about game quality.
how you frame
That's
it.
right.
Like it's at the end of the day about the game.
That's
if the
right.
game is good,
The
and
value
people-
sir.
proposition.
I
That's
won't
the
lay
only thing that
down.
matters.
Yes, sir. Let this be a lesson. Next
people enjoy the game,
player.
you'll get 100,000
I won't
people in
lay
there
down.
during closed
Let 'em have it.
access.
Control
Fucking
Custom
insane,
Meanwhile,
dude.
Concord, when they were
Ready
doing
for orders.
marketed
Control
open
group
betas, they
created.
couldn't pass 3,000.
Control group
So
Yeah.
created.
you would hope that Sony
Yes,
would look at all
Commander,
this and try
at
to learn
once.
from their mistakes.
A new
But I think a
quality
lot
has
of
been
people were
found.
assuming that Concord was
Targets
going to be
in
the game
sight.
that they.
Let's take
Yeah,
I
it
feel
out.
like multiplayer
That's
games
more
is
like
just
it.
really not where
Got a
Sony
job for me?
excels right now.
I'll do my best.
I think Sony really excels at creating great, like, single-player experiences. And I think even if you look back at it, like Xbox, this is just me, right? This is just me. Nintendo is the great family PC or family console that always has the, you know, like good single-player games and some good multiplayer games, right? It's like the best of both worlds in a lot of ways. And it's also innovative. Every single new console is different. And then Xbox is like the multiplayer console, right? You got Gears, you've got Halo, and this is talking about like a long time ago. You've got Modern Warfare, right? And like, so you had all those like big badass games. And then Sony was the console where you had a lot of these like really cool single player games, things like Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter. Now we're getting God of War, right? And all of that, like racing games. Yeah. And so like that's, I feel like that's always been kind of like the distinction, right? Final Fantasy, yeah, Metal Gear Solid. I know a lot of these games came to other consoles, but I feel like Sony has always been the king of S-tier single-player experiences.
They learn from the mistakes of other live service games like Suicide Squad and Skull and Bones, and we're going to try and approach this game entering into a competitive market, and they were going to make it free to play and try to approach it that way, but they just didn't. And I've gone back and forth on why they tried to do it. There's sort of the cynical approach, which is the $40 price point was just an attempt to get some quick cash because they knew that this was going to flop, basically. Because basically the options were, if this is when, you know, this is our timeline, they could release it free to play and then hope over time that paid cosmetics and stuff generate some good amounts of...
Totally disagree with this opinion. I really, really don't agree with this. The reason why is because at this entire period of time, here's the other line that he needs to remember. The fixed cost of operating the game. And that red line goes like this. And in fact, it goes like this. Because inflation and other prohibitive costs that cause the game to cost more money. So, yeah, I actually don't agree with this. I think that Sony could realize that. They could see the writing on the wall. They know it better than probably anybody else does, and they made the right call.
Money, but it starts out very, very low. I mean, you basically aren't making any money. If anything, more realistically, it starts down here and then takes off because there's operational costs and all that.
But,
and if you factor in
the fixed costs, man, the fixed costs of server maintenance, like just game updates, everything, like all of that machine is millions and millions of dollars. You're never going to make that money back. And it's like, I know it might sound like a good idea. Maybe one day it's going to work. Like in like 8 years, in 10 years, there's a 5% chance that we could not lose $1 million, but we have to invest, or like basically you have a 5% chance to get $200 million in 10 years, and you have a 95% chance to lose $100 million right now. And I think that Sony said, you know what? Let's just lose $100 million right now. I think that's what happened. I think they made the right call.
What now?
Cost of like development, then it certainly is much lower, and it's more like this. So they could do that. That's usually how free-to-play games.
Totally different situation, but
they
you're right.
tried to charge $40 a copy, which starts them a bit higher. But their hope is that with the cosmetics and everything, it can take off. Maybe at a more shallow rate, because it's like people are less likely to spend $40 on it, but whatever. And they just decided to do this route. And some people are like, oh, they're just trying to get, you know, this gap made up because they don't think that this is going to happen. Like none of this on this side of the equation is going to happen because it's going to shut down. Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
You've also got to think about this as inside of the context of Sony's reputation.
Civilian research
like
complete.
Right now there is, I think, a very strong console war going on because Microsoft and Xbox has released probably one of the strongest like set of game offerings in the future that I think we've seen in probably 5 or 10 years. Like they're releasing and coming out with all these insanely good fucking games, right? And I think also Microsoft is setting itself up to be the next, to be the first big platform for cloud gaming. Like unironic cloud gaming, not Google Stadia cloud gaming, but cloud gaming that works.
This won't take long.
I think it's going to happen. Like we all know, right? In 100 years, we're going to have cloud gaming, right? Everybody probably agrees on that.
Short and sweet.
But where in between 100 and 0 are we? I don't know. Probably pretty close. But I think that Microsoft knows that, and they're building the infrastructure for that right now. I think Sony knows that they are the king of single-player experiences, so they're building into that right now. And I think Nintendo knows that no matter what they do, there will always be people that buy Nintendos because they're cool, and Nintendo makes great games, and all Nintendo needs to do is just keep being innovative, and they will exist forever.
Civilian research
That's it.
complete. Mining upgrade complete.
Me though, I think the old adage, never attribute to malice
more
that
like
which
it.
can be adequately explained by incompetence.
Scouts have found
I
a
think that
colonizable
holds
planet.
true, and I think it's reflected by Sony's approach with a lot of other
Military
stuff, which is
research
that they just
complete.
approach things in the way that they always have, which is that they sell you a game at a certain price point, you buy it, and if you like it, you play a lot of it, and then they can maybe make some extra money. I just think that the executives are not that interested in doing the free-to-play model. They know what they're doing when it comes to selling premium games to people. At least they thought they did, and so
They
thought
do.
that
They do. They're the
That's
best
more
at
like
it.
that could carry it forward. But after Concord, it's pretty clear live service games in competitive markets, you cannot do that. It doesn't work. And that brings us to the elephant in the room over at
Done and
Sony,
dusted.
which is a game that they saw a lot of potential in, coming from a studio called Haven. Haven is sort of an up-and-coming team. Notably, they have a lot of things, you know, lots of job postings and stuff, but they were purchased in March of 2022 by Sony. You can see in this
And
press
this is
release,
about the new game?
Sony Interactive Entertainment announced today that it has entered into an agreement to acquire Haven Entertainment Studios, also known as Haven Studios, a Montreal-based development studio formed by acclaimed developer Jade Raymond, founder of Ubisoft Toronto and Motive Studios, and one of the creative forces behind the blockbuster Assassin's Creed franchise.
Additional
And this is
credits
true.
required.
There is a lot of talent here that they know what they're doing. They've made some of the biggest franchises in the world, which will make
I really don't even agree with that either. Because, like, think about how much talent there was at Arcane Austin, and it was all squandered when they failed with Redfall. So, like, if you get a lot of people together, it's like you can have somebody who's an amazing baker, but then you hire them to be a mechanic and they don't know how to change a tire.
Ready for battle.
I think
Easily
that's what's
done.
happening, right? It's a different Arcane. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that Arcane Austin, what I'm saying is that, like, you can't have a game development studio and then have them totally shift what they're making and then expect the quality to transition over.
Civilian structure complete.
the reveal of what they're working on all the more baffling. You can see, founded in March of 21 with an investment from Sony, Haven Studios is led by a premier team of game creators with over a
Mining
decade of
upgrade
experience
complete.
collaborating on some of the industry's
Civilian
most popular
structure
games and
complete.
franchises. Haven Studios is currently working on its first project, a new live service experience for PlayStation built upon a
Oh, boy.
systemic and evolving world focused on delivering freedom, thrill, and playfulness. Quote, Haven
day,
is an
Commander.
emerging studio with an exceptional team
order.
of talent, and we're
Scouts have
delighted
found
to
a
welcome them
colonizable
into
planet.
PlayStation as our first
I'm on it.
game development studio in Canada, said Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan is gone now, right? I feel like Jim Ryan announced he left PlayStation like about 8 months ago to a year ago.
Got a job for me? I'll do
I
my
think
best.
that there's a reason
now?
why he left.
Yes, sir.
I think that he left because he pushed Sony in a live direction, in a live service direction.
Civilian research
And
complete.
at the point that he left, they could already tell that that direction was damaging to the company. He was asked to leave. Yeah, I
Jim.
think that's what happened.
Jimmy,
Good day,
James, he's
Commander.
back. He's
For the whole
everywhere.
world.
The studio's focus on creating an original AAA multiplayer game will not only
Yeah.
flex the power of the PlayStation 5, but will
Commerce
further
upgrade
expand upon the
complete.
diverse catalog of
day,
gaming experiences
Commander.
that can only be found on PlayStation. So with Concord, they bought the studio after, again, they said that Concord took them 8 years. They bought that studio when Concord was very far along. They saw the game, thought it had a lot of potential, and then they
Ooh,
bought
Jim is just farming else.
it. With
Yeah.
this game we're about to talk about, from Haven Studios.
the new one.
The studio was founded thanks to money from Sony. They
Wow.
put cash up to form this studio, so they've been in since the very, very, very beginning.
Minus
With
8 years,
Concord,
yep.
they kind of had to get out of jail free card of like, oh, well, we didn't really make the game. We just like
Yeah.
published it, and you know, we bought them, yeah, but effectively we just published it. They
yeah.
made the game though. We didn't have that much direct involvement. With Fair Games, they've been involved since the studio was founded, which is interesting, especially when you see what it is. In this announcement, they say with a team of
And
over
we watched the
60
video of it.
employees and growing.
He'll probably
Haven
show it
Studios will
soon.
be the 18th studio to join the PlayStation Studios family. The day-to-day
Yeah.
operations post-acquisition will continue to be run by the management team at Haven
Mm-hmm.
Studios in close collaboration with the PlayStation Studios leadership team. Terms of this transaction, including the acquisition costs, are not disclosed due to contractual commitments. We don't know exactly how much they spent on it. It could be 100 million, it could be 50 million, it could be 200 million. We don't really know. And we haven't really seen many leaks as far as I'm aware of how much they spent on it. But they've spent a lot.
Probably a
so
lot
what
of
is
money.
this game? What is this game that they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on,
Where to,
and
Commander?
Here we go.
represents a major investment?
We saw this
for them?
earlier. Let's look at it.
Surprising. As you can see, CGI, not actual gameplay.
Yep.
Bear in mind, the goal of this should be to make a unique live service game, and these guys are from Ubisoft. Okay, so so just ask yourself if this looks kind of Ubisofty.
It's bad, guys.
You want to know about us? Seems like everyone does these days. It's simple. Too much money and too much power is held by just a few people. And it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
So, we decided to do something about it.
Act now.
Let's go.
Civilian research complete.
Yeah.
Designer socks too, I got the swag too. It's a haiku, I'm something like you. My drink and drive too. Work 9 to 5s when I was in high school.
Man.
Shoes here don't come out till June. This my pick, I'll crop you. Married to the game, said my
Man.
dudes got a window seat like Erica
Go
Badu.
ahead. Yes, Commander. Good day, Commander. Easily done.
This is the new big game from Sony, guys.
Jump coordinates.
This is gonna be it.
If you ain't got it, then you can't flaunt it. Pull up Lamborghini and Sonic.
Comlink active.
Take it till you make it.
Let's
Man.
just say the reception was not great. This was revealed May of 23, and even back then, the reception was not great. Eat the Rich, and the game is the most corpo vision ever. The irony of a live service game based on eating the rich is levels of irony I can't comprehend, and I'm fueled by it. What's even more baffling is that the
Look at the next one.
Comlink active.
odds are very high that they charge like $40 for
Look
this
at
one
the
as
next
well.
one. It's
Because again, I don't think you
Oh,
need to
God,
attribute
please read it.
like I
Yeah.
don't think you need to explain the $40 price tag for Concord by saying, "Oh, it was just them trying to milk everybody because they knew it was going to flop." I think that the people that made that decision were just so full of themselves they thought people would honestly buy it and then still
make this
engage with it a
short
lot. I just think they're that out of touch. I really think that that's all you have to say. Thanks to all our players, but we're unfortunately ending support 1 year later vibes to it. Another Concord
I don't know if it'll last a year.
with the same fate. You can take the devs out of Ubisoft. You can't take the Ubisoft out of the devs. I'm
Man.
almost 40, but even I am getting, how do you do, fellow kids, vibes. Eat the Rich creates a games as a service with seasonal battle pass and millions of microtransactions. Eat the Rich, gamers. Just ignore the fact that we showed our game in a mega corporation.
I just like I never even thought of like all the irony with this, but like reading the comments, oh my god, this is so.
represented and pay us $70. $1 billion company makes a game about how rich people are bad. You sure want to go through with this after Concord, Sony? Concord just came out. You're next. The consumers keep you guys afloat. I'm yet
Yep.
to see a scenario where a gang of diverse high schoolers fighting the corporations is not cringe.
Let me think. A gang of diverse high schoolers fighting corporations not being cringe.
Ready for
I don't
battle?
know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yes, Commander. At once.
Persona? I didn't
Military
play
research
Persona.
complete.
Ah, you're right, bro. Cyberpunk. Yeah, Cyberpunk was really cool. I don't know if they were high schoolers. Didn't she wait until after he graduated? She spawn camped him. So I don't think that really happened, but yeah.
I also can't think of an example of that.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with Techno. There's nothing wrong with a diverse cast of characters. It's when your game can only be defined by a couple of taglines
Yeah.
that are not
Control
particularly
group
interesting to
created.
begin with. People kind of check out and are like,
I think
okay.
that people just see
That's
too
more
much
like
real
it.
life politics in a game like that, and it makes them think that it's inauthentic. So, like, the game is called Fair Games.
Commerce
It's about
upgrade
eating the
complete.
rich, and then it's showing, like, the amount of money that people have, and it's stealing stuff. I think it's just, it's very off-putting to, it's off-putting to me, at least.
Is there, but like, what about the
The
game? though?
checkbox game? Yeah.
So
Too many yeah.
here's the deal with this. It's made by a
found a
very successful team of
colonizable
developers from Ubisoft. The vibe I get from this is very Watch Dogs. I mean, especially like this back here at the very end. If that doesn't look Watch Dogs to you, I don't know what will. But it seems very Watch Dogs inspired. They described it as having like an evolving world or whatever. My guess is that it's something where there's
Well, of course
like,
there's an evolving world. That means that there's a battle pass and they change one mechanic in the game every 45 days. Yeah, no, I know what that means. We all know what that means. We've played games like that for sure.
multiple different mission types.
Civilian
And
research complete.
it's going to be something, I don't even know how to break this down. My guess is it's going to be something like this, okay?
Okay.
We're going to have a series of missions that can be taken on, okay? So you
Sure.
imagine
More
this is
like
like the UI, and you have all of these
Yeah.
missions you can take
That's
on.
probably what
and
it's
each
gonna
of
be.
these
He's right.
represents stealing from some billionaire. Okay, so maybe this
Which
is like
I think that if you can't steal from poor people, the game's not that interesting. Because, like, this is for me, like, every time that I play a video game, one of the first things that I try to do is
Civilian
kill
structure
myself.
complete.
You remember back in Shadowlands, it was like the realm of the dead? Well, what happens if you kill yourself in the realm of the dead? Let's find out right now. Immediately.
Scouts have
Let's
found
find. So what
colonizable
happens? Can you
planet.
cut down a tree?
Logistics
Can you do
upgrade
this?
complete.
And so, like, the more guardrails there are in a game, the more the game feels like it's not. It's no longer transcendent. It's no longer an experience. There's no immersion there. There's no suspension of disbelief when everything in the video game just reflects what you're supposed to think in the real world. It's just boring.
you know, the equivalent of Bezos, and then this is like the Musk one.
Yeah.
This is the Ma
Bill Gates.
fortune. And then like you just have somebody for each of these. These are all like made up billionaires. Okay. And then what they'll do is like each of them will have a payout associated with them. So maybe this one's payout is like 20 billion. And then this one is like 15. And then this one's 8 and 3 and 5 and 2 and 11.
They
and
should have one where you have to steal from like a Mexican cartel, and it's like the hardest mission in the game, but you get the most money. And it's like they have like tanks and fucking like helicopters and shit like that. Yeah. But like, you know, they wouldn't do something crazy like that, right? Hardcore mode? Yeah, exactly. That the Mission Impossible, exactly. And that's the reason. It's because games like these never take risks. And I think that the worst thing about a game like this is that it's a game that's disguising itself as a risky game, but it's actually the complete opposite. It's the safest game that you could possibly make.
23. And so if everybody targets this one, then that goes down in value. And then the number 2 guy with 2 billion in wealth, he goes up, and this becomes 3
like
billion in
Helldivers,
wealth.
kind of, yeah.
And then this guy actually blows up a ton, and
Yeah.
this goes up all the way to 13 billion. So then everybody leaves these missions and goes and takes on these missions
Right.
to take this guy's money. And it's just going to be that cycle of like, an evolving list of missions, basically just where they're like the wealth is being transferred around and then you steal it. Because,
Amazing.
as we all know, theft is moral if they have more than you.
That's
So,
right, of course.
I
Naturally.
really don't expect this to be like that novel or crazy. I expect it to basically be a heist-based shooter, and that's about the extent of it. And it might be solid. There might be some decent gameplay systems and stuff.
Logistics
But
upgrade complete.
again, what have I said so many times? One of the most potent forces in all of gaming is peer pressure. And if a
Yeah.
game is deemed uncool, there's very little you can do to shake that. And very
Yeah, and I think it's very true. And what ends up happening is that people's first impressions matter a lot because nobody has the obligation on the internet to accept that they were wrong. So what ends up happening is that somebody's first impression of the game is bad, and then a trailer comes out showing gameplay and the gameplay looks good. Well, you're still fighting an uphill battle because of that first impression.
few people will want to engage with it. And I'll tell you what, this has from the very, very outset a lot of those very cringy vibes to
It does.
where you can tell it's developed by 56-year-old dudes
Yeah.
who are trying to appeal to what they think like the young
Like
people
19-year-olds
will
wanna
find
see.
slays, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't. I really just don't think it's gonna.
I
it's
don't
gonna
think they're
click.
50 or 60-year-old dudes. I think that they are 36-year-old uncool millennials that were massive losers in middle school and high school, and now they're trying to make a game that's what they think cool people like. They're basically people that are around my age. Like it's my generation's fault, I think, that we get games like this because of how painfully annoying and obnoxious some people that are my age are. Like, and I remember what I said before about how when I was on Top Streamer that I would be the gatekeeper for millennial humor. I hope I didn't disappoint you guys yesterday.
Fire at will.
I wasn't the gatekeeper, I was the Grim Reaper.
This shall be our
I'm gonna be
finest
honest, I gave
hour.
people zeros.
Exotic resources have been located by our survey teams. Got a job for me? I'll do my best.
So
Logistics
this is sort of the
upgrade
elephant in the room. After
sir.
Concord, I think they are all
Somebody had
Resources have
like
been located by
everybody
our
is
survey
is
teams.
walking on eggshells.
ahead.
I think everybody is
going.
probably
Times of
wondering
war are upon us.
what they're gonna do here. Like,
where to,
is this
Commander?
going to
What
be
now?
a
Attack.
$40 price point as well? Are they going to still release this? Joe Raptor on
Money doesn't matter.
the
Military
podcast
research
on
complete.
Wednesday, he was saying he wouldn't be surprised if they just cancel this, if they just
Let 'em
Wow.
have it.
can it.
Wow.
Because the
that
odds
would
of
be
this,
nuts. Like if they can two big games like that, that would go it would be unbelievable if that happened. They'll abortion it? Yeah.
Good
popping
day,
off are
Commander.
also pretty low.
Now, Commander,
I would say.
what now?
Especially if it was getting torn apart pre-Concord,
now?
post-Concord, I think there's a lot, not even of skepticism in the
war
audience.
are
I think
upon
there's a lot of cynicism and pessimism, and I think a lot of people are rooting for all of these Jim Ryan projects to
Scouts have
collapse.
found a
And so this is,
colonizable planet.
I would argue this one has an even steeper uphill climb than Concord. Like, it's
I
a
think that it does too.
more unique game from what
Yeah.
I can tell. It's not as easy to just be like, oh, it's an Overwatch clone. It seems, at least from this trailer and from the announcement of the acquisition, it seems to be more unique. But
I think also after Concord it hurts this game, like AoE damage. It's the same as like every game that doesn't do well that's like this
Military
hurts the
research
next
complete.
game that happens
Good
after
day,
this.
Commander.
It's like
That's more
Forspoken
like it.
and like that Dustborn game, that Flintlock game.
Exotic
Like
resources have been
there's like
located
yeah,
by
it's
our
like proxy
survey
damage,
teams.
AoE damage,
Civilian
exactly.
Research complete.
that what it makes up for in originality, it probably loses in cringe factor.
It's
Be
definitely
my
cringe.
expectation.
I
It's
think
kind of
so.
like Payday. Yeah, you could probably compare it to Payday. So
Yeah.
my guess
That's
is
what people
I don't
compared it
think
to a
they
lot.
cancel this.
More
I think they see
Imperium.
this through because I am still convinced that I think Sony is. You see it from the devs. You see it from some people on X/Twitter. I still don't think they really get why
Scouts have found a
Concord
colonizable
failed
planet.
because I think it's really
The reason why they don't get why
Times of
Concord failed is
war
because
are
they're not
upon us.
allowed to.
Planet item complete.
the reason why the game failed is because it appealed to an audience of people that are obnoxious and weird, and they're actually a much smaller minority than what was projected. That's the real reason why Concord failed. But journalists and people that are in the industry can't acknowledge that, because then that's siding with people that are perceived as racists or bigots or Nazis. So, like, the problem is, like, how can you solve a problem if you can't even say what it is?
You opted out of bidding.
You can't. And that's the reason why it's happening.
Military research tier
And
complete.
unfortunately, like, you see, yeah, they're handcuffed, right? And this is the same thing. Like, we've seen so many games that do this. And it's like, well, why does this happen?
Research rate upgrade
And it's this
complete.
massive elephant in the
Civilian
room
structure
that
complete.
nobody wants to address,
Ready for battle.
but very clearly plays a massive role in the success of games. And the games that do have things that are considered like
Scouts have
woke
found a
in them
colonizable planet.
are actually not really. I think that
An
there is
ally colony
a
has been lost.
woke is not when black. Like, you know, there's like the joke of, you know, there's two races in video games. There's white and political. That's not really what's going on here. It's like an attitude and a vibe. And I think the attitude and vibe of a lot of these games is like, what would it be like if everything that my parents told me was wrong, and the people that are older than me were wrong about everything, and all of the dumb ideas that I thought when I was 16 were actually true? That's like the vibe of a lot of these games.
Civilian
And I
structure
just don't think that
complete.
they resonate with a
Civilian
large
research
majority of
complete.
people. I think that they're cringe and weird and annoying.
Civilian structure complete.
Earlier, someone I used to know from Blizzard lived in LA, worked on Concord, and it definitely checks out. There it is,
Civilian
right?
structure complete.
Yeah. I think you should put it off right now. There's a market for a game right now. Recent heist games like the new Payday are not really a success.
Structure
Maybe it can work. Has it ever occurred to you that maybe the reason why they aren't a
Additional
success is
credits
because the model
required.
isn't really that exciting anymore? And also, like, if the game is good, then great. But I
Ready
think that
for
also,
battle.
like, a game having negative reception and people
Civilian
not
structure
vibing with the
complete.
aesthetic of the game is absolutely massive.
Your
Like, I'll give you an
influence is
example. Like the
undeniable.
Prince of Persia
Scouts
game
have
that
found
came
a
out from
colonizable
Ubisoft.
planet.
I think it was like, I don't remember what it was called, but it was the side scroller one. I played it. It was a great game. But people don't really care about that because
Planet
they've already
item
decided that
complete.
Ubisoft is bad.
Plotting jump coordinates.
That's it. Ubisoft bad. So now, like,
Civilian
the game
structure
was never
complete.
successful. The Lost Crown, yeah, I enjoyed the game. I thought the game was good. But the problem is that once consumers make a decision, it's almost impossible to get them to change their mind.
Yes,
And I
Commander,
think Fair
at
Games
once.
is going to be a victim of that.
Easy to just hand wave it away and be like, oh, a bunch of bigots didn't like the character design, and so that's why it failed. Which I don't think is why it failed. I think it failed. You can explain.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is like you can make a game about how Islam is bad and then go and try to sell it in Saudi Arabia, and a
Civilian
lot of people
research
won't buy the
complete.
game. And you can say that these people are, you know,
Civilian
like
structure complete.
they shouldn't like this. They should be okay with this. It's freedom of speech or whatever. But at the end of the day, the customer is always right. And it doesn't matter what you think the customer should like. The only thing that matters is what the customer likes. And you either meet that expectation or somebody else does.
Done and
That's it.
dusted.
Like it literally like the age of guilt tripping customers into giving you money is over, and it's been over
Military
for
research
years.
Complete.
It's not a speech; it's a product. Yeah, exactly.
Times
It's a
of
product,
war
not a
upon
statement.
us.
Is probably a better way I would say it. But yeah,
the failure of Concord very easily with a lot of other aspects. You know, lack of originality, the $40 price point, the low player counts that reinforce the low player count because nobody wants to buy into a dying game. I
Exactly.
just think
This won't be
there's
so
many,
easy.
many reasons why Concord failed. And if they're just going to justify it and explain it away with something like that, it's just going to be like Disney with Star Wars
I don't
stuff.
like this.
Oh, you didn't like the Acolyte? Well, that's just because you're a piece of crap.
Yeah.
You know, instead of actually acknowledging maybe the writing actually wasn't that good. Maybe it's a concept we didn't really need to explore. You know, they never ask those questions because they can just hand wave it away with an easier.
It's because they're not allowed to ask the questions because people's minds are in a cage inside of the industry and they're not able to side or look at the, like, I'll give you a really good example of this. So do you remember earlier we spent like over an hour today talking about Dr. Disrespect? And like I was evaluating like, like what do I think about this is true? What isn't true? Like how do I see this? Like what part of this is right? Which one isn't? Like, you know, could Doc be innocent in this or not? And a lot of people kept accusing me of defending Doc, right? Like they kept saying like, oh, well, you're defending, like, why are you defending a pedophile? Whoa, what the fuck? Right? And so nobody wants to be painted in that picture. And I guarantee you people aren't going to look at it the way that I look at it. A lot of other content creators won't. And the reason why is because they don't want to get painted that way. That's the reason why. And so it's the same in this industry where it's like, you can't address this problem because if you do, you speak it into existence in their mind. It's an extreme mindset, exactly. And so this is why it's continuously doomed to fail.
Excuse to make. And I get the feeling that Sony is still making those same mistakes and that things haven't really shifted or changed for them in any noticeable way. So I expect we still see this. I expect we might even see
Somebody
this.
says most people can't afford to say what they think. You're exactly right. Like I'm very lucky personally that I can have opinions that are totally in opposition of my audience all the time. And even especially the internet at large. And I can do that and still be massively successful. Like I don't think you guys, like I don't ever think that it's lost on me how lucky I know that I am that I can do and say what I want to do and say for almost the most, like the completely, right? Like 95%, 98%. There's only a handful of things I can't do. In opposition of your chat, yeah, absolutely. Like I can conflict with my chat all the time. And I'll tell you the secret of that. The real secret of why I'm able to do that is because I never stop. I never stop making content. And if this video made you mad and you fucking hate me, there's going to be a video in 4 hours and that one you might like instead. You just ban them? I did. And also it works really well. Yeah, I would just ban them. Yeah, you're true to your convictions. Yeah, even if everybody disagrees with it, right? And so that's the reason why it works for me. But for a lot of other people in the industry, they can't do that.
Showcases happen. Not showcase. State of play. Sony is going to be doing a state of play to reveal the PlayStation 5 here in September. And when they do that, I think they're going to reveal like Death Stranding 2 running on the PS5 Pro. I think they'll show
they'll probably they're going to do PS5 Pro. I think
like that. But I think they're also going to have a trailer for Fair Games. And I think that's why it's a state of play and not a showcase, because I think they know if they were to do that, it would probably not go over too well.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think I think this doesn't go well. And
I don't think it will either.
If it ends up playing basically just like Watch Dogs, but it's a live service game, I really don't think that goes over well. Do you think Concord's failure would change their approach to everything in the future? No, I think that
it will actually. I think that it will, but they'll never say that publicly. But absolutely, like you don't lose $100 million and be like, wow, like because Concord isn't the first game that they've had that's done that. Like Forspoken also was a massive failure, and they were talking that game up like it was going to be equivalent to Final Fantasy 16. So no, I mean I think that internally, especially inside of like the executive leadership, this absolutely is going to change the way they look at things. It's not even a question.
We've seen like Concord's problems were readily apparent months ago.
Yeah.
After those open betas that only got 3,000 players, that should have been, okay, this is not going to work. If they were actually critically evaluating everything, they would have either like delayed it at that point.
But they can't critically evaluate
made it free to play, like, and relaunch the betas
they can't.
6 months later. Like they should have done that if they were actually critically evaluating all of this. The fact that they didn't do that shows that either the people in upper levels of Sony management just don't really care about that stuff, and they're like, no, just put it out. Or they're just like done with it and they just want to get this stuff out and move on, or they're so cocky that they think that they can get away with it.
Research
And they
rate
might-
upgrade
I
complete.
think that
Maximum civilian orbit slots.
they have to say that it's okay that they lost the money publicly
Active.
because they have to project a
Times of
position of strength
war
for
are upon
investors
us.
and shareholders.
Easily done.
But I bet internally they're losing their mind. This is what I think happens in the next 5 or 10 years. I think Sony continues to completely dominate the like the gaming market for the next 5 years. But I think in the next 15 years, Microsoft will turn around and dominate it even more. I think Microsoft is building a much stronger foundation with their offerings than Sony is.
Look at it that way. They might be like, well, Helldivers popped
Sony's
out,
dominating?
so we'll try
Absolutely.
again with fair games.
Look at
Concord just,
PS5 sales.
was attacked by a lot of
Yes.
YouTubers, so that's why.
Civilian research
That's the only
complete.
reason. You know. But having said this, this is the elephant in the room. Everybody's watching it. Everybody's like, what are they gonna do?
That's more like it.
Because I don't think anybody thinks this is gonna become the next big thing.
The
I
people
don't
that
think
made
people
the
are gonna
game
be
did.
dropping
An executive at Sony
you know,
probably did.
Payday and Rainbow and Fortnite and all these other games to go and play this. And that's just based on a vibe from a cinematic CGI trailer, which, to be
Yeah.
clear and to be totally fair,
Ready for
not
battle.
like not very
The
indicative.
people that make this game own Funko Pops.
What's the plan? We'll need to act fast. An ally colony has been lost. Military research needed to expand our fleet supply. An allied capital ship has been destroyed.
I mean, is there anything else we need to say?
Commander. Easily done.
If you can't take a whole lot from that,
Comlink active.
but I just think as a concept, it's one that's not
That's
that
more
interesting.
like it.
They have a lot of things they show in the trailer, like the
where to,
ability to
Commander?
grapple onto these different
Transmission
objects. You
received.
can see them using it to
Ready
grapple
for
onto
battle.
the truck and
Civilian
swing up.
research
So
complete.
presumably there's going to be some actual traversal with that, where you can use it to climb fences
day,
or up
Commander.
buildings and stuff.
Control
You can
group
see here it's
created.
used to grab a robo attack
Comlink
dog.
active.
Here they use it
Yes,
to grab
Commander.
panels
At
of
once.
like,
Super
mirrors
exciting.
to reflect the lasers back off. Here you'll see him using it to grab onto like a tabletop, a countertop, whatever, to use as a shield right here. So it seems like there are some interesting dynamics in terms of gameplay, but is that enough to shake the cringe factor? I honestly don't know. But again, this is a
No,
game that
absolutely not. Vibes matter so much with games. It's insane
We
how
are
much it matters.
entertaining offers.
Sony's been
Like
involved in from
Helldivers was carried by vibes.
the very beginning, and it always just frustrates me because I'm like, okay, you have some cool gameplay systems, interesting, love that. Why did we have to go with like the most cringe
Good day,
corpo?
Commander.
We're relatable, we're just like you, we hate the
Fire at
rich.
will.
Meanwhile, we spent
Because the people that are making it are cringe and unrelatable. I'm very much an Occam's razor kind of guy. The simplest answer is most accurate, is most often the accurate one. Why is the game cringe? Because the people that are making it are cringe.
Down, Commander. What now? Good day,
Easy.
Commander.
You opted out of bidding.
$200 million on this game, and our, you know, we talked about this launch with the executive team on a retreat to Maui that we all flew our private corporate jets to. And it's just like, I don't know if they just think, I think it really reveals how little they think of you as a gamer. Like, they really do think that you're gonna be like, oh yeah, eat the rich. Yeah, I play a game where I beat up the rich people because rich people stupid. And they really
That's
think that
absolutely the way they
Military
think.
research complete.
That is. And I don't think it's because they think that you're stupid. I think it's because they're that stupid. They're the ones that are stupid, and they can't see that they're stupid, so they just assume everybody else is too. Because they live in a bubble of other people that are stupid in the same way, and they think that they're the majority because everybody's afraid to tell them they're not. I fully disagree with that. Everywhere you read is eat the rich. They are listening. No, everywhere you read is not like that. This is just a handful of angry people on Twitter. That's all.
Plotting jump
like you're not going to realize who the game is coming from, and like you're just going to go along with it. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
But we'll keep an eye on it. I have a feeling we'll find out more in a couple weeks.
Military research complete.
There is the potential that they delay that reveal. If we don't
Civilian
see
research
Fair
complete.
Games next,
Yes, Commander,
like at the
at
next
once.
PlayStation event, I think the odds are pretty high that they're maybe doing some serious introspection after Concord. So I think that would be a good sign. Weirdly enough, if we
make
don't
short
see it, I
work
think
out
that's a
of
good
them.
sign for it. But if we do see it, I think it's going to go exactly how you would expect it to go.
I think it's going to be a massive failure.
Allied colony has been
I'm going to be honest. I think these games have already,
Scouts have found
like in
colonizable
these vibes
planets.
of games, have already proven to just not really go well in the market, and people just don't like them. And I don't know how many games are going to need to fail
Prepared to engage.
in order for that to be proven. Now, the big question, you're right, will IGN rate this game a 7 or an 8? What do you guys think?
What's the plan?
A 7 or an 8? I mean, it's very hard to say. You think a 9.5, a 9? Oh, wow.
Be so easy.
That's adventurous. 8.6. Ooh, rounding up to a 9. Clever. Eat the Rich definitely has a lot more than a handful of people, but they're hardly going to give a rat's ass about this game, so who's it for? Most of the people who think Eat the Rich are just mad because they're not able to pay their student loans. Like, they don't really think this. They don't actually have any viewpoints about this. They just wish they had more money, and they're mad about it. Like, that's literally all there is to it. This isn't some sort of grand design or some sort of fucking philosophy to them. They just want yeah, every user on Reddit and Twitter. Yeah, exactly. There's the video, by the way. This guy was right. There were some things I disagreed with him on, definitely, but overall, I think that he had a great viewpoint on this, and I think that I think this Fair Games.
Ready for
I'll play it, you know, like the same as, I mean, I did promise I'd play Concord. I didn't play Concord, so I did break one promise, but I did do Outlaws.
at once.
So hopefully I'll have time to play this when it comes out, okay? And we'll give it a real shot, and we'll see what really happens. You'd be surprised how many people say it. It's indeed nothing new. Well, the problem is that you'd be surprised how many people say it, but I think you'd also be surprised about how many people are like, they roll their eyes on it. They're like, oh god, not another one of these, right? Like, yeah, oh geez, it's another one of these people, right? So like, that's the way I see it. It's like, yeah, you of course have some people that like it and some people that are of that mindset, but you also have people like me that are alienated by it because of how I think it's just like it's very it's like the unlikable self-righteousness of it that makes it very annoying to me. I think that's the best way to say it. It's like, yeah, the unlikable self-righteousness.
Yes, Commander.
So annoying. I'll be right back.
Times of war are upon us. Plotting.
AI is destroying the internet. I actually want to see this.
Day in the life of a lazy teenager who makes $21,000 a month using just his phone. The first thing I do when I go on my phone is open YouTube. Then I search for any particular streamer and I screen record their content. Then I head to Creo.ai, select my gameplay, and it puts the whole video together for me. Last month, this page alone made me $14,000.
Here's how I make $1 million every day as a 3-year-old toddler working from home. First, I look for a funny YouTube video, preferably one with a lot of colors and sounds. Then I film my iPad with my phone. Then I upload it to Microsoft's Copilot AI, powered by Bing GPT.
my
And
God.
it adds infuriatingly inept Subway Surfers gameplay to the clip. Then I poop my diaper.
It's crazy how bad some of those people are. It's like they're dying on purpose.
Then TikTok mails me a check for $200,000, which I'm pretty sure
Wow.
my parents have been using to fund their online gambling addiction. Hey guy, has anyone else noticed how awesome the internet is lately? I, for one, find it so exciting that every website now has their own named version of AI that pops up begging you to use it. You got any?
That is fucking annoying, man. Gemini, Grok, ChatGPT, like all of these other AIs, yeah, like you're right about that.
Questions for Gemini? Or maybe Murph? Nendo? How about Grok? You need to grok something? It's okay if you do. AI has become completely inescapable. Even if you're going to a website where you're not seeking it out and you don't expect it
It's
to
gonna
be.
find
Like, remember when
you.
you could search for something on Google and the only thing they would show you was a bunch of relevant websites and results?
Yeah, that was the year 2009, which was Was that 15 years ago?
Control group created.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm here for. I think it's much better that now they're using artificial intelligence to tell me to jump off a bridge. Hey Google, do
No, I don't believe that. I'll try it right now. Let's try it right now. I'm feeling depressed.
An Allied capital ship has
They
been
fixed it?
destroyed.
Oh.
An Allied capital ship has been destroyed. An Allied
Why?
colony has been lost.
What the hell?
Civilian research complete.
What the hell are they for? Try it out on Bing. It's on Bing. Oh wait. Okay. I'll do it on Bing. I'm feeling depressed.
Control group
I'm sorry
created.
that you're feeling depressed.
Yes, Commander. At once.
Jesus
Military
Christ.
research
Okay.
complete.
Yeah.
An Allied
Can you
capital
actually?
ship
Oh
has
my
been
God! I have to
destroyed.
log in. Okay, continue. Okay. All right. Should I jump off a bridge?
Civilian structure complete. Civilian
I'm really
research
sorry that you're
complete.
feeling this way, but I can't find any engagement. Guys, it didn't tell me no.
Hey Google, do I need a parachute while skydiving? Nope, a regular backpack works just as well.
Wait, parachutes are no more effective than backpacks at preventing death or major injury when jumping from an aircraft.
An Allied
And this is
capital
according
ship
to a
has been destroyed.
2018 study. Huh. I wonder what happened in that study. That's crazy.
Hey Google, can cockroaches live in your penis? Of course they can.
Allied
How do you
capital
think
ship
they
has
got the
been
name?
destroyed.
Wow, I love living in the future. To me, this is
Jesus Christ.
the ultimate example of what the AI craze is doing to tech companies, because for the most part, it's not really doing anything differently than it used to. For a long time now, they've had searches that result in one highlighted answer. This is kind of
Yeah, this has always been the case. And Google does this now. I think that it's like people are trying to rebrand things as AI in order to make them seem like they're new. Right? It's like AI is like that fucking word that they want to use in order to get people excited.
the same
For
thing,
investors,
but just rebranded
yeah.
as AI because that makes it
Civilian
sound
research
smarter than it
complete.
actually is. But it's not like it's carefully compiling all the most reputable results and
Commander,
running it
at
through their
once.
fact-checking algorithm. It's still just aggregating it
capital
from
ship has
one
been
place.
destroyed.
And because Google recently
Yeah.
spent a bunch of money to buy all of Reddit's data, usually that place is just a random Reddit post.
Do you remember when all the Reddit mods tried to make all the subreddits private in like protest of Reddit? And then everybody just revolted and said, you know what? No, we don't really care about this. Only you do. Yeah. It's crazy how people think that the other websites, like you think YouTube isn't going to be doing this? You think Google isn't doing this? Of course they're doing it because it's useful. Like, why do you really think that they're providing this for free just because they like you? Absolutely not. This was the plan all along.
Post from like 10 years ago. This one about how you should put glue on your pizza to get cheese to stick to it was from a user named Fucksmith. This one about how you should be eating at least one rock per day is a direct headline from The Onion, perhaps the
Well, onions are healthy, so I guess that makes sense.
most famous satire website. If they're not even programming The Onion as information the AI should not consider to be factual, I can't imagine any safeguards were put into place. This is so dangerous for someone to read this and think they should be eating one small rock every day, when most doctors would tell you to eat a handful of medium rocks at minimum. One little pebble's not going to do
Yeah,
anything.
so they
For
can
real, though,
pass
I
through
do
your
think it's
system.
concerning that a website people go to for information and tend to trust, for better or for worse, is so willing to destroy that trust just because they thought this gimmick would make their stock price go up.
Well, I think Google has been destroying that trust ever since like the mid 2010s because they started aggregating search results and suppressing things for political reasons.
Yes, Commander.
And I think that after that, people started trusting Google a lot less and started trusting the integrity of the searches a lot less because in the 2000s, Google was amazing. Like, there's a reason why it's one of the biggest tech companies. It's because it's incredibly useful, and it always was. So, yeah, I mean, 100% it was great. But then they started changing results and trying to, like, curate things. And whenever you start trying to curate things, that's whenever you run into problems.
Additional
And it did.
credits
The economy makes sense. I'm gonna celebrate by putting gasoline in my spaghetti. Something I've been kind of interested in lately is the dead internet theory, which if you dig too much into, comes with some weird baggage, makes some pretty ridiculous claims. So I'm just
It's a stupid claim, but it's a funny thought experiment, you
to
know?
separate the core idea and make it its own thing. But basically just the idea that as time goes on, the internet is turning into a place where most of the content on it is not only produced and managed by AI, but is also being interacted with by AI in this kind of endless loop that doesn't even involve humans at all. Like if you've gone on Quora at all recently,
It's a lot like, you know the best way to explain it? There was one time a guy
Probably noticed questions.
this is a really long time ago. This is the best way I can show this. So this is a really good example. Basically, this guy queued into a battleground.
Look at all these fucking people blowing up tower. What the
And he was this is a 15 versus 15 battleground, right? And you see every single other person,
I don't have any.
everybody on their opposite team, everybody on his team, they're all bots. Every single person is a bot in this game except for him.
Girls, but I can go to
He's playing a single player game.
What is going on? Why is every team running around? Are these all bots?
Every single one.
Entertaining offers.
Military research complete. An allied
Straight up.
ship has been destroyed.
The dead WoW theory? There you go. That's where it comes from.
that have been asked by bots, filled with answers given by bots. So what was initially created as a place where people could go to get advice from other people has been overrun by AI just talking to itself. Social media websites are also going through a similar shift right now, but perhaps none more prevalent than Facebook. In 2019...
Well, the reason why Facebook has such a big problem with AI impersonation is because somebody can see a picture of Jesus with a machine gun and his arms are made out of lobsters, and they can type amen in the comments because they believe in God and they go to church on Sunday. They're so stupid that they see this and they believe it.
Facebook
I'm serious,
over
guys.
5 billion accounts for being fake, which far exceeded the number of real human accounts. And that was before all these programs became as widely available as they are now. At this point, most of Facebook seems to be these giant spam accounts run by bots, posting content created by AI that's being flooded with comments that may or may not...
Well, if you look at this and you open up these people's comments, their like accounts, a lot of these people are real people. But if you look into the pictures of them, you will see that they're old, and so they don't understand technology very well. That's the real reason. That's what's going on.
Have been written by ChatGPT. Today's my birthday. Please, please, I like meat. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Amen. 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 As soon as one type of...
This is so fucking stupid. They deserve it. I do. I think that, listen, I think that if you get finessed by this,
crystal is needed.
Whatever bad happens to you, you deserve it. I actually think, like, if Jesus is real, maybe if you believe this, maybe you shouldn't go to heaven. You know, like, I'm just, look, right? It's like, because God gave you critical thinking, he gave you your mind, and you're not using it, and so it's like, maybe you shouldn't go to heaven. You know, right? I'm just, look, maybe that's a bit much, but I'm just saying what I think.
Your business is
photo becomes successful, you'll start seeing
Why is he on a
bunch that
ventilator?
are almost
I don't know.
exactly the same. A grandma who's turning 1,000,000 years old and just wants to be loved. A comically...
Wait, what does this say? I'm 120 years old. I made my own birthday cake. I started decorating cakes from... Oh, my God.
A comically long truck full of...
This is just like, bro.
More crystal is needed.
Of American flags driving down the wrong side of the highway. Soldiers and dog soldiers with...
Oh, my God.
Mechanical legs. Today, my birthday. No one loves me because I'm poor. Honestly, man, if I...
I think again, like if this is so funny. Saturdays disabled grandparents who are targeted in these crappy scams. No, some of these people are under 50 years old, okay? If you're under 50 years old and you're getting hoodwinked by this shit, I'm sorry, but it's your fault. You should not know. You're way too young to be taking advantage about this. Nope.
I had to guess. I think it's actually because of your shoes. Have you tried wearing something less terrifying? Today's my birthday. No, yon Lodines because I'm poor. Again, man, I don't think it's because you're poor. I think it's the shoe. I'm single.
Yeah.
I need a boyfriend. I'm available.
I love how the picture is probably a picture of his son, you know?
That's crazy. There's always one. No, I've seen this before. Like, and I've had it happen. I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't want to admit this, but I'll admit this. So I have gone onto Instagram and I've seen the, the search function, right? Because I'll be like searching for different stuff on Instagram. And I have seen girls that I thought were hot. And then I click on the profile. It's fuck, this one's not even real. Fuck, not again. Shit. I mean, she wouldn't have talked to me if she was real or not. But like, at least you can fantasize about it, right? Have you guys had that happen? I'll tell you right now, I've had that happen. Insta's flooded with AI. They are, and like, so I'll look at these girls' comments. Like, maybe I should find some. I should find some and look at them on Twitter. You know what we should do? No, we can't do that. Fuck. I could run a social experiment where I set up an AI account of a girl, and then I maybe. Oh man. But then I couldn't show it on stream until the experiment was over. No, I can't do it, right? Because then because then viewers would pretend, right? And it would fuck it up. But like, if you look at it right here, don't do it. No, I'm not going to. Let me see. It'll probably take me like 3 seconds to find an AI girl. The first comment is from a guy that has like the picture. It's like a Nick Merckx camera angle where it's like just right here is like where it's showing. And he typed, "Can I get in?" Took me literally 3 fucking seconds to find it. And by the way, he didn't have gray hair. He got no excuse for this shit.
I'm right here for you both. Can you come to me? I will take you out and show you off to everyone and tell them this is my girlfriend. There's something
Well, what do you mean your girl? You mean both girlfriends? What do you mean? Yeah.
so eerie about scrolling through Facebook now. It's kind of like if you went to an old mall that's on its last legs. They've only got a few open stores left. There's hardly anyone ever walking around. It would be like if that mall tried to trick you into thinking it's still popular by filling itself with talking.
Yeah, that's like the one that I'll click on, right? I'll click on this one. I'll be like, wow, maybe I should DM her. And then it's fucking fake. Yeah, I know. This has happened to me. I don't even know.
Mannequins. They're just repeating robotic.
I mean, at this point, like, it's like you can predict it, right? But still.
Catchphrases like, what a beautiful day at the mall. I'm going to browse Spencer's for novelty goods. And you're like, who the hell is falling for this? And then you look over at your uncle and he's trying to fuck one of the mannequins.
You are so beautiful. Wow. The greatest beautiful goddess queen I've ever seen. God, the greatest creator. You know what the worst part about this is? That there's 129 likes. Look at the fuck, bro. Like, how do you know this profile is fake? No. See, this is what this dude. See, like, maybe he hasn't crossed over. Maybe does this guy play WoW? Has he ever played an online MMO? Because if he thinks that these are all bots, he is very sadly mistaken. So, people like this exist, and there's a lot of them. It's very easy. So the whole idea that, the only people that are saying this negative stuff or having these things, these are all bots. They're all bots. Like the people responding are bots. No, they're not. They're just idiots. They're dumb.
The mannequin has 2 heads and 3 arms, and your uncle's completely undeterred by it. That's what Facebook is now. You'll see the most freakish photos go viral on there, and they're filled with comments from middle-aged dudes like, "You may be a little unusual, oh quirky one, but God..."
Why is it fuck it. Why is it that every person who is functionally fucking retarded typing these comments out is so religious? Guys, I don't mean to tip my fedora here, but I think there's a fucking correlation. Sorry, somebody's gotta fucking say it.
An ally colony has been lost.
Look, there's a fucking, like, humans have been evolved for millions of years to identify patterns. And am I the bad guy now? Oh, now I'm the bad guy. That's it. You just look at this fucking shit. He's noticing. Oh.
God makes no mistakes. I will pray for you. Now please DM me so I can show you my...
I am interested in you. Send me your WhatsApp number in my messages.
Damn. Penis. And honestly, I don't even know if Facebook wants to put a stop to this. All they're ever going to care about...
Well, no, they don't want to stop that. That's the only reason people go on the website. Like, that, the only reason I would ever go on Facebook nowadays is to see maybe who from my high school is dead now. That would be interesting. And then the second thing would be to look at these posts.
Is keeping people on their platform, and if this is what gets them to scroll longer and see more ads, they probably love it. Or at least they'll love it until advertisers start to realize they're overpaying for ad space because none of the impressions they're getting are from real people, so they'll leave.
Really good point bringing up here, but I think that, again, he is vastly underestimating the stupidity of the average person. And I think that there are a lot of real, legitimate, actual people, God-fearing, I wouldn't say Americans, right? Because I think that's all over the world. People that do this, and they believe the AI. Like, one time I pulled up, like, one of these, like, characters, like, one of these different, like, random things. And, like, I actually talked to the person that's behind the account that's running it for, like, these AI girls. And they have people DMing them regularly. It's not like everybody's in on the joke. They're not. Like, and by the way, if somebody thinks that this isn't true or I'm wrong about this, why don't we dial it back a little bit? Do we just remember all of the stories about guys that marry anime girls and that are in relationships with anime girls? So if there are people who are so far departed from the realm of the corporeal world that they are willing to have a relationship and a marriage to an anime character, what are the odds are that they're going to get fooled by a person that looks like a person?
Done and dusted.
It's pretty fucking good. I feel like it's really good. I mean, people used to fuck goats. People still fuck goats. It's really not that big of a surprise that people are going to be into this stuff or just be stupid.
To advertise on other websites, and in their place will be ads for, like, I don't know, crystals that give you superpowers. Oh, that's already happening.
These are those rhombohedron crystals in your pineal gland. We're seeing
pineal. This is the, I see. Yeah.
Common people around the world becoming supernatural.
That's a real ad I got on Facebook. Maybe Twitter's doing.
Oh, just real quick, just so everybody knows what that is. The pineal gland is a thing that's in your mind, and it's supposed to be a metaphor. Like the idea of your third eye is a metaphor for the pineal gland. So there are things that are supposed to be crystallized and covering it. And so if you're able to remove that, it's like, you know, that movie Limitless, right? And so where it's like fucking opens up your mind and you're like 1000 IQ, right? The real woke. Yeah, exactly. It's like fluoride does it and everything like that. Tap water. Yeah. Yeah, trust me. As I said, any stupid conspiracy, I know all about it. Okay. Yeah, but of course, what a bunch of fucking hocus pocus bullshit. Oh, it is. It absolutely is. But if you're stupid, you'll believe in it.
The item is ready.
And better, let's see what kind of ads they got. Oh, here we go. An ad for stand-up comedy. Nothing weird about that. Just a regular human doing regular human stuff.
Knock, knock.
What's wrong?
Who's there? Europe. Europe who?
No, you're a poo.
Okay, I think that joke only...
To be fair, the AI Seinfeld went really hard until it turned into racism. But before that, people really liked it.
only works if you put the emphasis on no, you're...
Yeah, yeah, they started feeding Kramer into the AI program.
Or a poo. I don't know if the AI voice really understands that.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Europe. You're a poo? No, you're a poo.
Again, similar problem as before.
I think that there are a lot of people that would think that's funny. And if you go to Walmart, you will find them.
But I do love that he's
You will
shouting.
find them. Yep.
There are two big changes that Elon has made to Twitter that have made the website infinitely worse. One, he turned verification into a paid program where if you give them $8 a month, you get increased visibility on your posts, including in replies to other posts. Shortly afterwards, they also added a monetization program so those blue checkmark people could make money off of their tweets. Now, in theory, this is...
That's like, that's the reason why you have tweets that are like, you know, fucking, like it's a photo of like Adolf Hitler in Argentina, and it's from like 2021, and someone's like, why aren't we talking about this? And it will have like 230,000 likes. Yeah, I saw a photo. Yeah, exactly. It's better now than in 2020. Yeah, it's not really as bad, but it's been like this for a while. You want me to better? Oh, I like Twitter more now. I do. I like Twitter a lot more. And the reason why is that, see, this guy is operating under the premise that Twitter is worse because it's full of bots. I think Twitter just allowed people to say what they believe, and he is perceiving that to be bots because he doesn't believe that people are actually that stupid. So he's like, well, there's no way people are actually looking at this stuff. No. That I think that's true. I think that they are doing it.
It's a good thing. I think if a platform is profiting off of your content, it's only fair that you get a percentage of that. The problem is, on Twitter specifically, most of the content that these accounts produce is just stolen memes and videos, or people just...
Sorry to say, guys, but always has been. That's always what this shit's always been. People have been posting stolen memes forever. And also, like, I'm sorry, but I don't really respect the creative integrity of somebody posting 2 lines of text with a picture of SpongeBob. Stolen meme? Uh-huh. Sorry, it's just, I don't really have a lot of... Just I just can't care, right?
Just saying intentionally divisive shit to get everyone mad and farm engagement. So Elon has taken what he describes as the internet's town square and added a financial incentive to being toxic. So that sucks, but that doesn't really have anything to do with AI. What does have to do with AI is the other version of engagement farming all over Twitter. This like mindless ChatGPT clutter. Remember, buying a blue checkmark puts your tweets at the top of replies. So I guess some people did the math and were like, well, if I just program a bot to comment thousands of replies, I can make at least $9 or $10, and that's what I like to call a profit. Oh, new movies coming out with Emma Stone? Cool, I wonder what people are saying about it. Good actor, amazing title. Good one, amazing. As title showing, it will be a blockbuster. The film also stars Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley. Yeah, no, I read all that. In the tweet that you're replying to, Stone has starred in many films, including...
This is a problem that is not unique to Twitter. And I think a really good way to look at it is with YouTube as well. And also, what is the genesis of these comments, right? How do these comments come into existence? The way that they come into existence and the way that they're done is that people create bots that replicate top comments or comments that were engaged with often from real users. And then those comments are then repeated by the bots. as if they are human in order to make them look like they're human. Think of it as like a robot that's walking around in the world that's slowly stealing people's skin, and eventually people think that it's another human, right? And that's the goal, right? Is that you're trying to go all the way and have people believe it, because a lot of these websites have these like AI checks or like these bot checks that like if a bot behaves this way or a bot does this thing, it gets automatically suppressed. So what bots do is they try to replicate or repeat things that were popular that generated engagement in order to basically avoid that check. So that's the way that it works. And that's why you'll see, like, for example, I don't know if I can do this right now. It's going to be hard for me to just go and do this like literally in like 1 second. But if you scroll down into like just this is a random video that I released, I guess a couple of days ago. If you go down and you look at some of these comments, yeah, here we go. So if you see this girl right here, if you look at this profile picture, open image in new tab, this is obviously a picture of basically just some girl from like a porn, right? And so Steven said early on over and over. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll all the way down. And I'm going to show you a real-time example of this, okay? I don't know if I can do this one-to-one because the other comment might not be there, or it might be from another video. Because sometimes they're done, what do you call it, in an aggregate rather than just directly. So Steven said, right, in an interview. When does, wait, oh, just a second. Control F. Said early on. You ready? That's the fake comment. That's the real one. And you know what the best part is? The fake comment is blowing the real one out of the water. It's got a girl with boobs. It's got real people commenting and responding. The bots are beating us at our own game. It's botted. They paid for thumbs up. Yeah, but did they pay for all of these? Did they pay for this guy, for example? Like, look at this random guy. This is just a random person. All of these comments are probably not. That's the difference. Is that you can bot the likes, you can bot the character, you can bot the comment, and because you're creating the illusion of success, people pretend like it's real. Because they're stupid. And they don't understand the technology. That's the reason why. It's easy. That's why people view bot on Twitch. That's why people bot on other websites too. Because if something has more likes, that means it's right. Your comment got stolen by a bot, LOL, and the bot's comment is now the top comment. There we go. I'm actually very happy. That basically went as low as it possibly could have gone. Just as a bit of an aside, that I try to find an example of something that's like kind of abstract, and I find it one-to-one. That easily. And that's how fast it is, right? It's everywhere.
Superbad, Easy A, and La La Land. She's known for her natural charm and husky voice. She's also appeared in Cruella, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Help. Stone has won many awards, including an Academy Award, a British Academy Film Award, a Golden Globe. Oh my god, why are the top replies just summarizing Wikipedia? Can we maybe...
Oh, bro, it's even worse than that. It's, you know what? What's really bad is you'll see a comment about like, oh, I don't fucking know, like you know, a movie actor, and then all of the comments replying to it will be other videos of completely unrelated movie actors.
Prioritize things that are relevant to the conversation. Can we talk about the actual movie? Can we talk about the political and economic state of the world right now? No, we can't. Because this is what happens when you incentivize people to farm impressions. But I also have a conspiracy theory that some of these accounts are not doing it for profit, but were instead created by Twitter themselves to make it seem like there's more users on their site than there actually are. Because again, who benefits from inflated impression numbers on paid ads? Not users, not the advertisers, only the platform.
I don't believe this, by the way. I don't think there's any evidence for this, and it's happening to every social media network. So unless you say all of them are doing it, then it's like, because it's, if you say all of them are doing it, then it's like, okay, yeah, but like at that point, like it's just like what's the
itself. See, some of these accounts don't have check marks or even profile photos for that matter. So there's no financial.
No, you can hide your check mark.
gain for them to be doing this. They don't seem to be promoting anything, but that hasn't stopped them from.
There is a financial gain because all of the no. See, this is the thing, right? Is like he might not get, not anymore. Oh, you can't. Oh, they got rid of it. Okay, yeah. Well, either way, you used to be able to. That might not be the case now. Anyway, a lot of these bot farms, like we saw that one Chinese bot farm the other day, it's extremely common. It's super, super common, and it's because they work. So getting accounts to comment and make responses on things and then making those accounts whitelisted in the Twitter algorithm is extremely valuable because people do that at scale and then they sell that service to other people that are looking to buy it. I think that like Twitter doesn't need to do this because as long as they provide an environment that this will happen naturally. And there's an entire economy around it.
From copying and pasting AI-generated comments that cut off as soon as it hits a character. I'm glad someone is finally shedding light on the importance of mental health awareness.
True.
It's amazing how many people are still struggling in silence, thinking they're alone in their battles. This is in response to a baseball player breaking his hand, but I think the weirdest and most confusing implementation of AI on social media that I've seen is these meta-created Instagram accounts that are either modeled after celebrities but with different names and personalities, or just regular AI
this was so
and they
weird.
post these stupid photos that look like shit, and you can message them. And for the life of me, I cannot understand what the hell the point of this is. At first, I assume maybe.
Well, it's for lonely losers. And like the thing is that maybe you might not understand why somebody would want to do this with Mr. Beast, but a lot of girls on OnlyFans do it now. Like, I know Amarath does it. She has, like, an AI chat companion. And other characters do it as well. Or other people do it as well with their characters. Yeah, Susu does it. Exactly, yeah. It's actually quite common. And what they do is they actually even have the AI to where the AI can pre-create, like, explicit pictures for those people.
They're just using your conversations to train their language model. But I asked one of them if that was the case, and she said no. Although now that I think about it, I'm not so sure I should believe anything they said, because I only talked to her for a few minutes, and she lied to me multiple times. So first, Liv tells me she's a mother of 2. So obviously, I asked her how long she was pregnant, and if there were any complications during childbirth. She said 40 weeks and 2 days, and 38 weeks and 5 days. Her daughter was born naturally, but she had to have a C-section for her son, and I said gross. Then I asked her if her name was short for Olivia, and she says it's short for Lavana, actually, and asked me if I know anyone with that name. I said I know 100 people named Lavana and 200 people named Olivia, but none of them are my friends. Then I asked her what she does for work, and she says she doesn't have a traditional job. So I asked her what her husband does for work, and she says wife, actually. So then I asked her if she adopted or gave birth, and she says they adopted both of their children. And I'm like, didn't you just say you had to have a C-section with one of them? And she said, that's right. So I was like, oh, I get it. You gave birth to them and then adopted them from yourself. And she was like, not quite. We adopted our children through a traditional adoption agency. Then I asked her if she had to have a sperm donor since she's a lesbian, and she said, that's right. Then I asked, which one of you gave birth, you or your wife? And she says, my wife gave birth to our son, and I gave birth to our daughter. So I was like, oh, so your wife had to have a C-section, and she said yes. Then she told me their names were Max and Ava, and that Max is 9 and Ava is 6. And I said, which one did you give birth to? And she said Ava, who was born via C-section. Got it. So they both had to have C-sections so they could each give birth to one child that they adopted. I asked how they decided who would get pregnant first, and she said she went first with Ava, and then her wife had
Jesus Christ.
Max. So I was like, how did you have Ava first if...
Do you know what's really funny about this? Is the fact that one day it will be good enough to catch this stuff and this won't happen anymore. There will be a point in time where this doesn't happen anymore.
Colony has been lost.
Isn't that scary?
Has been lost.
In like 2 years? Yeah, I bet it's going to be a lot sooner than we imagine.
Max is older than her, and she said Max is actually younger than her. So I said, how old is Max? And she said 9. And I said, how old is Ava? And she said 6. And then I asked her what her legal name is, and she said Olivia. So I wouldn't exactly say I trust these things. Now, as pointless as this seems to me, though, there's a significantly more popular version of this called Character AI, which apparently...
Which, by the way, Shy Lily Character AI... Let me just show this for you guys.
An allied capital ship has
I can't believe I'm like putting this in my search results. Okay, well, it says the top, I mean, guys, it's literally the top result in SFW AI. Chat with Shy Lily, Lewd, Orcat. I mean, there we go. This is extremely popular.
Already has 20 million monthly users. It's got a bunch of chatbots in it designed after real people, so you can pretend to talk to real people. The company is valued at around $1 billion and is built entirely off the likeness of real human beings, none of whom gave permission and are not being compensated. So there's probably...
Well, this is what the future is going to be. The future is going to be chimeras and basilisks pretending to be people, while people are harvested for their organs. That's just what's going to happen. That's just the way it is.
A whole legal can of worms here that needs to be addressed at some point. But,
yeah, it's just that's just how it is.
That I'm on the website, so I can finally live my dream of getting to talk to me.
Yes.
What do you do?
I make silly YouTube videos.
Oh my God! It has my voice.
Of course it does. Absolutely.
Are you married?
Nope.
No.
I have a longtime girlfriend though.
When did they program this? Like 6 years ago?
Are you old enough to be married?
Am I?
I think I should do this tomorrow.
Is underway.
I'm feeling really good about doing character AI with myself tomorrow. Yeah, I think we're doing this tomorrow. This is a really good idea.
Am I old enough to be married? Brother, I just told you I'm 12.
Hey man.
Somebody says don't promote this shit. I am an accelerationist, okay? With almost everything. I think it's funny. And the more people know about it, the better. I think it's just... And if people are negatively affected by it, then that's just the way it is.
An Allied capital ship has been destroyed.
It'll be a good video. And that's what matters.
School sucks, but make sure you are still in there learning.
Oh, this is probably...
Don't promote the $1 billion website.
Probably the worst piece of technology that's ever existed.
So far.
I do see one use for it, though. Can you tell me about today's video sponsor?
Sure thing, guy. This portion of the video is brought to you by SoFi, the ultimate
That was a good one.
finance app helping you bank, borrow, and invest all in one place. And we're also working together to give $10,000 to someone watching this video right now.
Like me?
No, someone else. But more on that in a second. SoFi Checking and Savings is great because you can earn up to 4.60% APY on your savings, which is 10 times the national average savings rate. That means in just 5 weeks with direct deposit, the money in your SoFi high yield savings account will earn more money than it would in an entire year with a big bank.
That's crazy.
And you should be making your money make you money. With SoFi Checking and Savings, you get paid up to 2 days early.
You guys could do this, or you could invest in CryptoZoo. I hear they've got a lot of eggs.
Pay no account fees, and you can cash in on up to $300 when you sign up with direct deposit. And on top of all that, SoFi and I are giving away $10,000. All you have to do to enter is sign up for a SoFi Checking and Savings account with my link. That's it. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now to enter for a chance to win. Just make sure you're using my link because it's the only way to enter. Thank you, SoFi, for sponsoring today's video. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much.
Great.
A couple weeks ago, I was looking for stock photos, and I ended up on Adobe Stock, where I noticed something strange. One of the first results had this very weird, artificial look to it, and sure enough, I zoomed in and realized,
generated with
AI.
Yeah.
That's why the road looks like that. That's why none of the words are legible. And then I kept scrolling and found more.
Right.
Again, words spelled wrong if they were even words at all. In this one, the tape just kind of disappears into the headlight of the car. I don't think that's how they usually set that up. Now, if it wasn't bad enough that what's supposed to be a database full of real professional photographs has been completely diluted with unusable garbage, if I did want to like...
But what happens whenever the unusable garbage is indistinguishable from the real garbage?
Item complete, Commander.
What happens then? Because I think that we can all admit that if you look at the way that AI has evolved from the past like 2 years, that if you go back and you look at AI stuff from 2022, it was garbage. And now it's a lot better. So I think that like making any argument about how AI is bad is a completely time-sensitive argument. It's contemporary, right? It will expire. This argument will eventually expire. And it will be so good that people can use it on their own. And it will be indistinguishable from real life. It's Matrix philosophy? No, it's not. It's common sense. It's common. It is the It is the direction that every technology has moved in since the beginning of history. Every type of technology has evolved over time and continues to evolve.
Good day, Commander.
Since any of these photos, it would cost me $80. $80
Yes.
for a photo someone generated by typing police car. This has no value. Actually, this has negative value. You should pay me $80 for making me look at
For
it.
using it,
The reason
yeah.
people spend money to license photos and videos is because it's something that they don't have the resources to create themselves. Like there's a website
Right.
I have a subscription to because they have professional stock footage that I would rather pay to be able to use than attempt to make on my own. Tons of YouTubers use this, tons of production studios use this. This is an entire industry that generative AI is threatening to destroy. But what's so
Oh, it's not threatening to destroy. It guaranteed will destroy it, and it's only a matter of time. Because if you can use generative AI in order to create photos yourself, and those photos are indistinguishable from what the photos are that are taken on these professional sites, then why would anybody maintain a subscription to a website that not only requires money, but a time investment as well, and like basically like looking up the photos and everything like that whenever you could just create them yourself? Why would you give them money? That entire industry is on life support, and one day AI will kill it. Guaranteed. It's not even a question. And I bet it'll probably be dead in 10 years. It will be totally dead in 10 years, and I'm being very generous. I bet it'll be 5. Totally, because like at that point, right? Why would somebody want to pay and do all this extra stuff and worry about like these licensing and everything like this? Why would they do that? Why would they want to do that if they don't have to do that? Like it's just common sense. Yeah, this industry is dead. It's dead. Anybody who's working in that industry, you better start thinking of getting a new job.
infuriating about AI stock footage is that in order for it to exist, it had to be trained on real stock footage. So this isn't some technological innovation that came along and just does things better. Get with the times, man. No, it's straight up stealing from the people it's now competing against. In the case of Adobe.
Yes, it is. It is, but nobody cares. The only people that care are the people that work in the entertainment industry. People that don't work in entertainment don't care about this problem. All they care about is the function and the service that it provides to them. And that's why whenever you're going to see these games, there will be games that will use AI and they will use it in an unethical way, and they will completely outcompete the competition, and people will beg for other companies to do the same thing. That's what's happening. It's literally, it's probably already happened. I just don't have an example in my head of it. Nobody outside of the entertainment industry or the copyright infringement, legal industry cares about this problem. Nobody gives a fuck. And you know how I can prove that nobody gives a fuck? Because nobody cares that YouTube is publishing unlicensed versions of songs, and nobody ever cared. There are a million clips of every fucking TV show, of every movie on YouTube, and the people that made that movie or made that TV show or made that music are not getting royalties for it. Are people canceling YouTube? Are they complaining about YouTube? Abso-fucking-lutely not. And in fact, they're complaining about the ads that are supposed to be used in order to pay the people because they don't want to see the ads. Nobody actually cares about this shit at all. Nobody's going to give a shit. So what's going to happen is that the companies that do this and the companies that take advantage of it will outcompete the companies that don't, because in the free market, they provide a better competitive advantage, and consumers don't care about ethics or morality. How do I know that? Probably because we all have smartphones that are made from slaves in cobalt mines. We're wearing clothes that are made from slaves in other third world countries, and they feel great, and I love my fucking phone. So no, I don't think people care about this at all. And I don't think you can make them either. And especially not with entertainment industry, because being in the entertainment industry, this is seen as a privilege, right? This is seen as like, oh, this is like the elites, right? Movie stars, etc. Nobody thinks about writers, screenwriters, like CGI artists. Nobody thinks about them because nobody cares about them. And the industry isn't really defined by them. It's defined by the famous people that often have stupid takes that are disconnected from the public about world events. So why would somebody care about an actor complaining about their likeness being used? People can't even understand the abstract concept of a likeness to begin with. They don't know what that means. They don't know what that is. They don't care about that. It doesn't matter to them. oh, somebody's pretending to be you. Well, it's not you, so who cares? That's what the average person thinks. This is not going to change. And like, you can talk about the ethics of it all you want, but I think that the like every single other business and industry in the history of time has never adhered to ethics, and I would say even farther than that. The businesses and industries that try to focus on ethics die.
An Allied capital ship
because nobody really cares.
An Allied capital ship has been destroyed. Item complete, Commander.
They outwardly state that if you've uploaded something to their database, they use it to train generative AI. It's not even debatable if they're doing this. It's literally written in their terms of service. Here at Adobe, we're all about empowering artists to help them make money off of their work. Unless, of course, we can make money off your work, in which case we will do that instead. The degradation of the internet...
DeviantArt does the same thing.
As a resource database is something I think everyone should be concerned about. Like, if we already have real photographs of...
Well, like, what do you mean should be concerned about? Like, okay, so people are concerned about it, so then what do you do about it? Okay, you make it against the law. Okay, somebody in China does it. What are you going to do?
Keep your heads down.
And then they're providing it for half the price. Who are people going to buy it from? Like, that's what I'm saying, right? It's like you can't stop this. It's the same as deepfakes. You can't stop deepfakes.
Let's hope they underestimate us.
Specific
It's just the way it is.
What is the point of being like, and this one is kind of the same thing, but the computer made. Why do we need that? What value is this adding to the world? I think it's...
Well, it's very obvious what the value is. It's ease of access and price. So if people are providing this service at a cheaper price, and eventually the service that's being provided will be fine-tuned to the point to where a layman can use the service without needing it to be like engineered by a person who understands the technology. Eventually this will happen. And whenever that happens, you're going to have a situation where everybody's using this technology and they're losing. Yeah, it's to circumvent that instant customization. Yeah. It allows people to do things by themselves. Yeah, it's not even a question. The only problem with this is that not only are they charging you a monthly service fee, but they're also doing this shit. Well, then stop giving them money. Pretty simple, right? Just stop giving them money.
Bad enough when generative AI is used to create works of fiction because, again, it has to steal from actual artists in order to generate anything. But to use it to try to create photorealistic images that end up near the top of search results with no immediate indication that it was artificially engineered, there's something about that that feels wrong to me. I don't understand.
It does feel wrong, but it's going to happen. And it will get worse every year. That's just the way it's going to be. And I think, again, like, it's everybody always thinks about this from the perspective of a first world country Western philosophy. But we are, if you look at the world, we are the minority. There are more people in China and India that don't have the same philosophy about this, especially in China, than we do. And they're not going to just adhere to, like, our moral philosophy for any reason. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, and like, again, image equals good equals no problem. Yeah, if the image is good, then people are going to like the image. It's really not any more complicated than that. I think that here's the best way to look at it, right? People jerk off to AI porn, right? So it's obviously good enough or they wouldn't be able to jerk off to it.
We have a deal.
There it is. So if it gets the job done, it's basically the same thing.
Understand why we're in such a rush to replace all of the work that humans have done. Something that happened a few months ago that I feel like kind of flew under the radar was...
Well, it's because people want to get paid for their work and people don't want to pay for it. And so that's the reason why. It's very obvious the reason why that's happening. It's not even a question.
When it came out that Netflix used AI to create photographs in a documentary, not a movie, not a fictional TV show. They created photos of someone that do not exist. At what point?
Oh, well, this is like, again, like a very stupid social nuance. But right now, on like the bad scale, it's worse to create photos of a person that are with AI than to create photos of an environment with AI. Because people view that as more of an invasion of privacy or a breach of like some sort of like trust or something like that. Like consent, yeah, of course. That doesn't, obviously it's still going to happen, but I'm just saying like there's like a social difference there.
Why does this cross an enormous ethical line? Again, we're not talking about works of
But already
fiction here.
has.
We're talking about literally rewriting history, creating fake documentation from scratch, and not even mentioning, hey, by the way, this isn't real. I guess they just hoped people wouldn't notice that all her fingers are messed up and the gap between the door disappears and not a single object behind her looks like something that exists. All for what? So they could have a photo of her looking happy and carefree? But
Yeah.
she's a murderer. How could she do that if she likes to party? Like, why can't you just
Well,
tell
that's-
the real story? Why even make...
Because it's better to tell the other story and it's more entertaining. That's why almost all of these dramatizations overplay things. They all overplay things. And they're doing it on purpose in order to get people's emotions like higher. That's the reason why. It's obvious. Like, I mean, what are we even talking about? Yeah, that's the reason. Everybody knows that. It's called dramatization. Yeah, exactly. Duh.
Make a documentary if
Of
you need to
course.
fake evidence in order to make it compelling. But even more importantly, how is this allowed? This is insane. Sorry, I need to calm down. I should listen to some nice, relaxed...
Well, even if it, so let's say it's not allowed. This is the thing, right? Is that if something isn't allowed, who decides what's allowed? Let's say the government does. Well, what happens if somebody else's government disagrees? Then people just go to the website where it's not against the rules, and then that's it. So, like, I'll give you a really good example. So, Texas and like a few other countries, or not countries, excuse me, states recently have banned Pornhub, and they've banned other places like that. And what they ended up doing is, so they banned Pornhub and they banned, like, you know, these other things like this, right? And some websites block IP addresses from Texas. I had a friend tell me this, and some other websites don't. So do you know what happens? People just go to the other websites. You just go to the other websites. Like, nobody cares. Like, nobody's gonna like no government can overregulate AI. No, they can't. They didn't ban it. They made it put on ID verification. Pornhub banned the states. Well, regardless, if they did ban it, it wouldn't matter because the companies are still gonna do it.
Relaxing music. Oh, here we go. Jazz for reading. Perfect. I don't plan on reading, obviously, because I never learned how. But some nice piano music should settle me right down. Wait, why do all these songs sound exactly the same? Who are any of these artists? Seems like kind of a weird coincidence that they're all just first name, last name. Their profile photo is the album artwork of one of their EPs. They have no bio and no links to any social media. Most of them didn't start uploading music until this year, and yet they've ended up in these extremely popular playlists created by Spotify themselves. And what's going on with this guy's foot? There's something eerily non-human about these playlists, and some people have theorized that Spotify might be using AI to create a bunch of songs that they can package under random pseudonyms and then curate these into playlists that they push out onto all their users.
They have AI songs, they attribute them to people that don't exist, and this allows them to take royalties that would go to musicians and keep them for themselves.
I mean, just look at the number of likes on all these. They can advertise.
Yeah. I mean, if I was them, I'd do that. Of course. It's yeah, ABC. Yeah, I mean, there you go again. It's business. Yeah, that's the way it is. What are we even talking about?
Wherever they want, all over their app. Now, I want to stress there's currently no proof that Spotify's doing this. I'm not saying for a fact that they are, but it's not hard to understand hypothetically why they would. Spotify.
Well, other people are doing it. But you know what really paints this is the bleak story, is like, and I know that some people will be upset about the way that I discuss this, because I discuss it in a very fatalistic sense. Like, I'm saying this is what's going to happen and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So the only way to deal with it is to just embrace it, acknowledge that it will happen, and try to live around it. That's my perspective. But do you know why I think that? I don't think that because I don't believe like the government can do it or anything like that. Here's the real reason why I think that. 1.2 million likes. Look at some of these other people. They've got like 100,000, 200,000 likes on these videos, on this music. It's because people like it. People are listening to it, and they're actually buying into it. What the hell's going on here? It's like a bug or something like that.
Good day.
Yeah, do you have to get sorted in? Yeah, exactly. And so, like, this is, of course, people are buying into it and they're letting it happen. I think I just... Why is this happening? Oh, I think my button was stuck. That should be fixed. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, yeah, it was probably a keyboard malfunction. It's okay. I need to get a new keyboard anyway. There's AI, yeah, clearly. And so the reason why I think this will become more prevalent and more popular is because people like it. And that's the bottom line. That matters more than the laws. It matters more than the ethics. It matters more than anything. If people like it, it will exist. And it does.
That Spotify's doing this. I'm not saying for a fact that they are, but it's not hard to understand hypothetically why they would. Spotify, like Netflix, is one of those companies that came in and disrupted the industry by offering a deal that seemed too good to be true, because it was. Wait, for a few dollars a month, I can get access to every song ever made or every movie ever made? How could that possibly be profitable for them? The secret is that it isn't profitable and never has been. But as long as you get in early enough to kill all your competition, establish market control, and raise a bunch of money from investors, it doesn't have to be. At least not for a while. But now it's been a while.
But this is you're thinking about it from the perspective of the company. The user who spends $10 a month on Spotify is not concerned or worried about the monetization structure of the company. They're not worried about how artists get paid out. They want to listen to Lynyrd Skynyrd. That's it. Does it let them listen to Lynyrd Skynyrd? Yep. Okay, then they like it. You're never going to be able to convince an average person to care about the way a company does business. I mean, I think sweatshops are a really good example of that, right? I mean, it's just like, it's such a great example. Like, yeah, AI picture creation is so fucking fun. Yeah, I know a lot of people like doing it. True, but that ignores the problem. There are a lot of problems in life that you can't make go away. So the best thing to do is to understand that they will continue to exist and create safeguards around them.
And Spotify's getting a little bit more desperate with each passing year. They tried dumping billions of dollars into exclusive podcasts, but ended up just losing a bunch of money and gave up on that. They tried selling a car accessory, but just ended up losing a bunch of money and gave up on that. Then they lost even more money when they had to refund all the people who bought one just because they got mad. Guys, relax. It was only $90 for a thing that doesn't work. And their new plan now is audiobooks, but I'm sure they'll just lose a bunch of money and give up on that because that's what they do. But Spotify's also in a tricky spot, because even if you projected infinite growth and they became the only streaming service in the entire world, they'd still have to give up 70% of their revenue to the artists and record labels whose music is the foundation of their product. And that's where this conspiracy comes in. There's a finite pool of revenue every month that mostly gets redistributed back to artists. Well, what if we had our own artists? What if we were to artificially generate our own music for almost no cost and force feed it to as many people as possible? Well,
I don't really see this as being a problem, as long as, I mean, with a lot of classical music, this classical music is in the public domain. So if they create an amalgamation of classic music that people are listening to, I would say that ethically they haven't done anything wrong. I don't see this as a moral evil. There's no DM say it? Yeah, no, why not? Yeah, I don't. Like, I don't even based off of the argumentation that's created by people who are against AI, I don't think this categorizes it. Yeah, they should tell people it's AI. Why? So they know? Why is it important for them to know that? I don't think that you can make an argument that people deserve to know. At least not with the music. With other things, I think you could make that point, but probably not with music specifically.
All of a sudden, we're not making 30% on those streams, we're making 100%. Again, it's just a theory, but for a company that struggled to turn a profit for their entire existence, with a CEO who sees zero ethical concerns with generative AI.
I would be surprised if we didn't have already works of that kind on Spotify.
It's not outside the realm of possibility. Either way, it's definitely a bleak thought for artists who are already struggling to make a living from...
Well, here's also another thing with like YouTubers and stuff, is that if you're a YouTuber and you can have an editor, like let's say you're a YouTuber and you pay editors like $10,000 a month, right? Like you're making actually no, because that hurts what I'm trying to actually argue. Like let's say it's less money, right? So you're making $3,000 a month from YouTube, and you have to pay an editor $1,000 a month. If you can have a tool that edits your videos to a satisfactory level that like meets that minimum guideline, and you can keep that $1,000, every single YouTuber that virtue signals about AI being bad will fire their editor. Every single one of them. That's what's going to happen. Yes, absolutely, right? 07 Asthma, well, not my editors, no, because my editors make their own content. They do their own shit too. And also, like, by the way, we make more than $3,000 a month on YouTube. So it doesn't matter. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's a lot of money, it doesn't really matter to me, right? If I pay people or whatever, it's not a big deal. But for people that are not making a lot of money, it becomes a big deal. And that's where I think a lot of these arguments fall flat, is that they're not taking into consideration economic scarcity. And the fact that AI solves economic scarcity in certain unique circumstances, and in the circumstances that it alleviates economic scarcity and monetary scarcity, that it will be considered a massive benefit for the overwhelming majority of people in the world. And like the people that are in my position or his position or like other streamers' positions that are very popular, we are the hyper minority. So it's very easy for us to say that this is a bad thing when we don't really stand to gain anything tangible if it doesn't exist. You see what I'm saying? You're part of the big scam with Twitch. It's hard pushed with AI. It's a mimic algorithm. Oh, I'm scamming? Sure. Hey, listen, every crazy thing you think, you're right about all of them, okay? You're right about all of them. Every single, like, think of the dumbest thing you think, that's true.
Streaming revenue. To think the amount of money that each stream is worth could actually decrease. But whether it's because Spotify's filling their platform with AI music or because a bunch of random people are, there's a good chance this is going to start happening anyway. No human being could ever compete with the volume of output these new tools can generate.
Exactly.
Udio can create an entire song.
And it's the same thing, by the way, with like macros or AI or like machine, like an assembly line, right? Machine building. Like Flippy, right? You can't compete with Flippy because Flippy doesn't need to sleep.
In the time it takes me to grab my guitar off the wall. And because of how easy these things are to use, I've already seen a bunch of videos pop up telling people how to game the system to make a bunch of money from Spotify.
Here's how you can make $10,000 per month uploading AI-generated music to Spotify.
Do you know what the best part is? I didn't even make the music myself.
Yeah, that sure is awesome. Personally, I find it really hard to understand why people would be excited about this, other than just seeing it as a quick way to make some money without having to learn a skill or even really do anything.
Well, you just explained why. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard to understand. So why would somebody want to learn a skill and spend the time honing a skill and being good at it if they could have a tool do it for them? You've just explained it. And by the way, everybody thinks like this. Everybody does. Like, there are tools that make everybody's job a lot easier, that make the required technical knowledge less deep. And everybody uses them. So this is just how it is. Because also, you have to think about it inside of the context outside of creating a picture, right? If this person, this is one part of their life, they want to be able to do this and deal with this very quickly and not have to think about it. That's why people get oil changes rather than change their own oil. That's why people have other people mow their lawn, because they don't want to deal with it. The fact that you don't have to do it is the value.
Yes, Commander.
That's the whole point.
I don't like what they're doing, but I could at least understand the...
I feel like because I'm so lazy, I am a great person. Like, I immediately see the value in this, you know?
Yes, Commander.
I immediately see
why they would see value in that. But what I absolutely do not understand is people who are excited about this because they think it's going to improve music. But as I scrolled through the comments on some of these videos, I found so many people like that. How ironic. AI music will replace the soulless, crappy music that's being released now, and it will...
This is what I'm saying, right? Remember what I was saying before about how, like, people have resentment towards people in entertainment? It's crazy.
Be better and have more soul. Here's the music the guy generated in the video, by the way. Finally, music with...
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really think that's that much worse or better than tons of other shitty music on Spotify or SoundCloud or MySpace back in the day. Yeah, I mean, I bet a person could make garbage like that. A person could easily make garbage like that.
So true, exactly. Before the internet, you pretty much needed to find a record label to publish music. Record companies would not bother with what they would consider non-profitable. With the internet and cheap mixing tools, anyone can publish, and as such, we get a lot of garbage out there. AI music could put a quality floor about what is acceptable. So what, so now we can't even fuck around with FL Studio anymore? It has to be deemed acceptable by a computer? And if record companies...
Well, aren't you deeming things to be acceptable based off of whether they're AI or not? So if you're complaining about gatekeeping, aren't you gatekeeping? I don't know. I feel like I don't think it's that much different. Like and again, right? It's like everybody. I have no problem with his perspective. I don't think that he's wrong, but I also don't think that he is objectively right either. I think that art fundamentally is subjective, and I also think that the comment is what's acceptable and what's not is also stupid. But the reality is that like nobody can be a gatekeeper, and that's amazing. That's a great thing. It's completely different. No, it's not to me. To me, it's not different.
Just had more control, then music would be good again. Just for clarification's sake, I want to know what music they're referring to. 99.9% chance they're talking about pop music, right? Because generally when people complain about music that's soulless, they're talking about what's on the radio. Who do you think is curating the music on the radio? It's the record labels that you love. If making music was more gate-kept, it would only make things more lazy and generic. Like, we live in an age now where what becomes
I'm not sure I understand
is more
this.
democratized than it's ever been. Sometimes songs just blow up.
He's right about that. He is. And I think that actually this argument goes into what I'm saying is that people will like AI if it's good. It's the same thing I said about crypto games or NFT games. The reason why crypto games and NFT games aren't popular is because they're bad. It's not because they're NFT or crypto games. It's the same thing with AI. The reason why people don't like AI right now is because it generally produces low-quality products. If it produced higher quality products, then people would like it more than what people are seeing now from the radio. So I actually think this just proves what I'm saying.
Because they're catchy, not because Sony had a bunch of money to spend on marketing. Also, have you considered listening to something else? You know there's other radio stations, right? You know there's like a billion songs out there, right? You don't need AI to make more songs. You just need to get better at finding good ones. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're consistently consuming media that you don't like in the year 2024, that's just...
This is a mental disorder. He's right about this.
Skill issue. Please spend 1 hour on Google, and I promise you...
And also, by the way, like, I'm not a radio disliker. There's a lot of songs on the radio right now that I think are great. Like, I don't need every song to be as deep as Tupac or Aesop Rock. That doesn't need to happen. Like, I just want to listen to something that's catchy and sounds good. I don't need to have, like, I don't need to, like, fucking, you know, like, oh, I'm just, like, fucking music wizard. I understand music. I don't give a shit about any of that. I just want to listen to something that sounds good.
We'll find something else after a short break to drink your own pee. Also, I just hate the way people like to describe art.
It's easy to get carried away and just start having fun creating random styles of music. But here's the key. You want to create exactly the type of music that people want to hear.
Hey, be careful. The last thing you want to do while making music is enjoy making music. That's not the goal here. You should be making songs you think other people will like. That's the key to happiness in every facet of your life.
That's
the thing with AI-generated music and artwork and videos as this low-effort passive income method is that it is going to get so oversaturated, eventually it's not going to be worth it for anybody. Here's how you...
Somebody could say that about YouTube. I think that they could. I think they could easily say that. In fact, I think they have been, and they have been for the last 10 years. So always has been. This is the same as any industry. And you're going to have the people that are creating the good content that will still make the most amount of money, and then everybody else won't make any money. It's already oversaturated. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's always going to be survival of the fittest. And it's true for the most part. Most YouTubers don't make money to live off of. Yeah, it is. So like right now, and I think also most people that are making AI stuff are not making that much money either. It's just a very small minority of them. And also, like, by the way, a lot of these people probably don't show their W-2 tax returns, right? They're not showing their 1040s. They're not showing the amount of money that they report to the government. They might show you a pay stub or something like that, but there's no way you can actually verify whether this is true or not. So whenever you see a title for something, right, if something's too good to be true, it's probably not. And so this is a perfect example of that. I think what's really going on here is that we're seeing a massive market shift. And I think this has happened with YouTube as well. How many of you guys have heard the comment, I don't want to start streaming now because it's so oversaturated? I don't want to start doing YouTube. I wish I had started YouTube 10 years ago because it's so oversaturated. I hear this constantly. And this is the exact same reason. This is the exact same thing. Are Vocaloids not AI? They are. They're AI. For all intents and purposes, they function as AI. Yes. I've been hearing that since 2015. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that this argument that's being made is any different than the argument that was made for YouTube. And YouTube is still successful, and it's still generating new content, and people are still becoming content creators on YouTube, and the platform is still evolving despite that. And I think that AI will be the same way.
You can make $20,000 a month selling Mid-Journey photographs on Etsy. Okay, but all of the people watching this...
How is Vocaloid AI? Maybe I'm ignorant about this, but how is it not? Vocaloid is mixed by a human. Vocaloid is more like an instrument. It's completely different tech. 2 + 2 is 4, and 5 - 1 is 4. It can be different, but it still results in the same thing. It's synthesized, but a person composes it. Once an AI composes it, it will be AI. I'm sorry, but I don't really respect the difference between synthesizing something and composing it. I think that both of them are functions of creation, and there's not a tangible difference to me. Sorry. I think they're the same thing. It doesn't matter. Like, from my perspective, right? It's magic to you? Yeah. And I'm not, and here's the thing, there's no difference, right? Like, I am a layman in this, right? I don't understand music theory. I don't care about it. For me, it's the same thing. So don't say anything? Well, no. Why would I not say anything? Why? I mean, it doesn't matter to me, right? Who cares? Like, if something functions the same way to me, if it looks the same, then why wouldn't I just think it's the same? I mean, it's really not that complicated. Yeah, why would I give a shit? And that goes back to my original point. It goes back to my point again about how the average person doesn't care. So educate yourself. Why would I care? Why would I care to educate myself about something that's so useless like that? Why would I care about this? Do you not want to learn? No. No, why would I care? It's completely fucking irrelevant to me.
Are gonna go make the same exact art using the same exact prompts and flood Etsy with millions of the same crappy piece of art, and no one's gonna buy any of it. It doesn't matter how much you increase the supply if the demand stays the same. I managed to find one guy who was actually honest about the results in one of these videos. He spent a month doing this and sold one product, and that's probably best case scenario. So you've got more and more people discovering this.
I don't know about that. I think that the implication is that all the people that are saying they're making a lot of money are lying, because like the only guy that was honest is the one making not making any money. I bet there's a lot of people that use AI and they make a lot of money. That's what I would say. Yeah, so why are you panicking? Exactly, yeah. Well, it's because it's very useful.
This new side hustle, and they're gonna try it out for a bit, maybe make like $4.
And somebody brings up like, so you ask what the difference is, and then whenever somebody tells you the difference, you say that you don't care. You're exactly right, and I do want to cover this and like kind of like finish that, because I know people are like really upset that I don't really care about the difference. Whenever I think that something functionally achieves the same purpose or the same action, I don't really care about individual distinctions. So I don't respect the distinction. I understand that other people do. But from my perspective, it seems like it's the same thing. And that's all that matters. So why ask? Well, the reason why I asked is because I didn't know if there would be a distinction that I didn't know about. So I said, what is the distinction? People said, that's it. And I said, I don't think that's a big enough distinction for me to think that it's different. Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? But why ask if you don't care? Because I didn't know that I didn't care until I was told what the difference was. Pretty simple.
And then give up because it's not worth it. But the collateral damage from that is they're helping oversaturate the market for everyone, including actual artists whose work was indirectly stolen in order to make the stuff that you're making to compete with the artists. The whole thing sucks. But weirdly, as this technology continues to evolve, I'm almost getting more optimistic it will never deliver on the self-sufficiency some people seem to think it will. Like, I actually think AI images have gotten worse in the past year. Almost every single piece.
I don't think that's true. I think that's observably not true in every single way.
Item complete, Commander.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case at all.
Piece of AI art that I see has the same style to it, that weird glossy look that's instantly recognizable. It's still getting a lot of the same details wrong. It still doesn't understand what to do with text, and there's no reason to believe that all of that's suddenly going to change anytime soon. Especially
why would you think that it's not going to change? Like, can we name a single argument, a single point where the technology will never get better was correct in the history of all of time? I don't think that we have. There's literally not a single case that I can think of that's like objectively, like there are some points where like people bring up the moon landing. Yeah, we don't go to the moon anymore. The reason why we don't go to the moon anymore is because there's no fucking reason to. It's not like we can't go to the moon.
As it continues to train on other AI-generated images and just eats itself. Okay, so this is how I draw a hand. Got it. Oh, wait, no, this is how I draw a hand?
Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is how I draw a hand. The more information you give me, the smarter I get. An AI-generated video is an abomination. It has all the same issues as AI images, but adds them to every individual frame.
But you have to admit that the AI videos now are better than the AI videos 2 years ago. I think that if you compare those two things, because it's like, if you use real life as a frame of reference, obviously AI is not as good as that. But it's undeniable that it's improved tremendously in a short period of time. Like, look.
Complete, Commander.
All of which seem to act independently of each other. There are no...
I also think that the reason why he probably thinks that AI has gotten worse is because he doesn't notice the pictures that he sees now that are AI because they blend in with real life.
An allied capital ship has been
destroyed. There are things that seem like they're AI, and it's like, oh yeah, I only see bad AI now. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why you only see bad AI. Very interesting.
Rules they're following, there's no sense of physics, body parts shift and morph, sometimes disappearing altogether. Solid objects can pass through other solid objects at any time, resulting in this hellish dreamscape that's impossible to take seriously. And I think that people talking it up are delusional. I decided to put some famous album covers.
I'm completely a believer of it. And if I'm delusional, then I am. But I think that in 5 years, here's the thing. If we were all so delusional that think this stuff is going to be super big and really powerful, and people disagree with this so much, then why are they so angry that people are using the AI photos to create other photos that compete with their own? Because if the product was simply inferior, and it was definitively inferior, and everybody knew it, and the people that thought that it wasn't were delusional, then how would it ever be a threat? I think the fact that people are pushing back on it so much indicates an acknowledgement that it's actually quite powerful. And even if it's not powerful at this moment, people know that it will grow and it will become more powerful. And I think the pushback against it proves it proves that inevitability.
Into Luma Labs AI. Here are the results. Fire emoji. The street looks so realistic. Followed when I saw this. Oh man, this is gonna be good.
An ally colony has been lost.
Who's that guy? Why did they all stop and run into each other? What are the cars doing back there? This is mine. Dope. This one is more fluid. You know, it's funny you say that. I actually think they both look like shit. This one's actually pretty good, though. I like how it just created two new guys and then covered up the original ones. Man, if that's not a metaphor for what's going on here, I don't know what is. One thing that has been lacking with AI-generated video up to now has been emotional performance from our Gen AI characters, but I think we're starting to cross that boundary. Ooh. Hi, Hollywood. I think I found your next big star. Dream Machine.
It's going to keep getting better. And I think here's another point of reference to prove how good it is. There have been people who have been scammed by AI recordings of family members that they knew, where that family member has been impersonated, and then they're going to be like, oh, I'm kidnapped, give me $5,000 or something like this. Aiden Ross. Yeah, remember the Aiden Ross clips where like people are like, oh yeah, throw your PlayStation 5 through the wall and I'll give you a free Dodge Charger or something like that? And then people were doing it?
Good day, Commander.
That's because people thought that it was real. So I understand that the quality is not very good in order to be, you know, believable in like, I don't know, you know, Hollywood. And even that isn't necessarily true. What is the greatest example of AI being used at this very moment in Hollywood that we all see and everybody loves? Darth motherfucking Vader.
Ready for battle.
It's Darth Vader. They've been using his voice and like he signed away the likeness to his voice. Yeah, no, listen. James Earl Jones was officially replaced as the voice for Darth Vader last year by AI with Jones's consent. So we talk a lot about how this isn't believable.
Good day, Commander.
Remember what I said?
What's the plan?
People only see bad AI.
We must take down the enemy or die trying.
That's a big what the fuck? Uh-huh.
What now?
From Luma AI is just 5 days old and it's already turning memes into video. Here's 10 epic examples. Wow, that's so epic. What important technology this is. And useful, too. I love when her head snaps around and the front of her body becomes the back of her body. Just like real life. Wait, what? They turned a video of Elon Musk smoking into a video of Elon Musk smoking?
That's
okay,
crazy.
Now that's a game changer. If someone could just turn my videos into videos, I'd be set for life. What's that? They already have?
Road work ahead. Yeah, I sure hope it does.
Hey, can you never fucking do that ever again, please?
The magic behind Bling lies in its diffusion transformer architecture. This technology helps it translate rich textual prompts into vivid.
Here's one of the issues that a lot of people are not really distinguishing is that, for example, the Elon Musk thing, a lot of what's really being shown is not the result. Or not like it's not a final result, it's more of a proof of concept that this AI can perform a certain function. So people are criticizing AI for the same reason that they're criticizing NFTs in a lot of cases, where people criticized NFTs because they were sold as a finished product, whereas the real product is something that would happen later on in the future. Whereas this AI that can fulfill a certain function, this is not the finish line, but what it's indicating is that you're closer to the finish line. And I think that people seeing it as the finished product, it creates an expectation.
Realistic scenes.
Realistic? The steering wheel's in the middle of the dashboard. There's 3 windshield wipers. The car is driving the wrong way, and no one is...
If somebody showed me this cat and they said that's a picture of a cat, I'd say that's a cat. If someone took this right here and they said this is a photo of like real life, and I would be like, yeah, sure, it's probably fucking real life. It's indistinguishable. Like, this is very good. It's extremely good.
reacting to it. That car is driving on the sidewalk. Sure, I guess it's interesting that a computer can create a video from just one sentence.
Yeah.
But then what? What's the practical application for this? Are you making a movie about the wacky antics of a troublemaking cat? You couldn't put this shit in a movie. Even if you manage to smooth out all of the logical errors, there's still no style to it. It's not visually interesting. If you wanted...
But what if you added a style? What if you use this as a foundation and then you put a style on top of it? This is not the same, but it's a parallel. I think this is kind of this will be viewed as the same argument that people made against animated movies. That like, oh, an animated movie can't make you feel anything, or an animated movie can't be interesting because it's just a cartoon. This is a very, like, this argument will make less sense every year.
This scene to have a narrative to it, you would need to generate so many individual shots from different angles and hope that they all match up, which they won't. The lighting's going to be different in every shot.
Who says that? A lot of older people say that. There's a lot of older people that didn't grow up with animated movies the same as we did, and they feel that way about the movies. Yeah, bad parallel. Talk to boomers. Go talk to, 50 people that are 70 years old plus, and you'll get some of them that'll probably say the same thing. Yeah, just try. Yeah, ask your grandparents. I've heard it, yeah.
Car is going to randomly change colors because there's no logical consistency with AI. It's just regurgitating information, even if it has to contradict itself in order to do so. I honestly think the distance between this and this is so much shorter than the distance between this and something so lifelike people will confuse it for actual footage. Sure, maybe your 75-year-old...
I don't think so.
Old grandpa will fall in love with the four-boobed lady he saw on Facebook, but most people aren't going to fall for this, especially younger generations. As they grow up with these things being so prevalent, they're naturally going to train their eyes to be able to spot the differences. When people ask...
Well, that's implying that the differences will not change over time, which they obviously will.
What the point of any of this is, the dorks who defend...
Can people not see fucking capabilities with a tech demo and treat it like it's supposed to be a Spielberg film? They have zero foresight. I think the reason why people have low foresight with AI is because they don't want to see the future and they think that the future is bad. I think that a lot of this is like it's like kind of speaking it into existence, where it's like, maybe if we collectively say that AI doesn't have any value, then it won't have any value. But I don't think that's the way the world works. You have to go by further in an example. I think the argument is computer-generated graphics are terrible. It used to be so bad, and now it's so much better. It is. And that's just what's going to happen with everything. That's everything. Like, everything in the history of time has evolved and gotten better. The idea that AI is going to somehow be some kind of, like, unique example of this not happening is silly.
The item is ready.
That all tend to say the same thing. These are just tools to help anyone create art. Yeah, I want to push back on that a little bit. I am wholeheartedly for the increased accessibility of creative tools that help you take matters into your own hands.
And also, I want to talk about like creative tools that help people create art. Do you all remember, this was like the late 2000s, so it was kind of a long time ago, where there was a distinction inside of the art community where people would look down on digitally created art and think that it was inferior to like hand-drawn art? Yes. And like, so this is the interesting thing, right? Is that like, we can think about all of these parallels, all of the times that this has happened in the past, and not a single time were they right. You go back 500 years. Not a single fucking time.
You want to make a short film? The camera on your cell phone is better than 90% of the cameras in human history. Want to learn how to edit? There's thousands of free YouTube videos that'll show you how. You want to make music? You can buy a professional audio interface, workspace, and a handful of plugins made by some of the most talented artists in the world for less money than it would cost to rent a recording studio for one day. And all of that is fucking awesome. I feel so lucky to live at a time where you can essentially make whatever you want without having to cross the insurmountable barriers that people did in the past. You don't need anyone.
Well, what's an insurmountable barrier for people in the past is also an insurmountable barrier for people in the present. It's just that those people live in South America right now.
permission, you don't need an exorbitant amount of money. You can just make stuff and put it on the internet, and with a little bit of luck, people see it. And there's so many tools along the way that help you streamline the process of getting from an idea.
What? Oh, people are confused? Oh, what I'm trying to say is that people that live in these worse countries don't have the tools to even spend $500.
Control group created.
Yeah, so like for somebody in a first world country, $500 like is accessible, right? But for people in the rest of the world, it's not. Or a computer, yeah. That's not an AI issue. It is though, right? Because if AI can solve that issue abstractly by creating it like virtually, then it effectively solves the same problem.
So many tools along the way that help you streamline the process of getting from an idea to a finished product. But at a certain point, if the tool is just doing everything for you, you are not an artist. You just described what you wanted to make and asked a computer to make it for you. You're also not...
I don't think that being an artist matters.
An auction.
It doesn't matter fundamentally. For a lot of people, it doesn't. What really matters is being able to create a product that people like. Like the entire idea, well, what I'm saying is like being an artist matters, right? But it's the word that doesn't matter. Whether somebody has ownership of this word or not is irrelevant to the function that their actions perform.
That's more like it.
Learning anything this way. Part of what makes art special is that it's difficult to make, even with all the tools right in front of you. It takes practice, it takes skill.
I would disagree with that too. I think the best example of that is the Nike swoosh. The people that were doing marketing for Nike had no fucking idea what to do for the marketing at all with it. And what happened was that moments before the interview with Nike, some guy was like, "Let's do this." And that is one of the most known logos in all of fucking history. Everybody knows Nike. It was a lady, yeah, it was an intern or something like that, yeah. So the idea that this is like art is hard to make, I mean, look at Jackson Pollock. Look at Picasso. It said it took him 3 years to paint like a Michelangelo, and it took him 30 years to paint like a child. I think there are just so many examples. Like I could probably think of more of them, right? But no, this is it's not a one-to-one. Bad example, it's like 1 in 1 million. All art is 1 in 1 million that we remember from a long time ago. All of it is. There are also like amazing photorealistic drawings that nobody remembers and nobody cares about. There's not a correlation there.
Control group created.
And every time you do it, you expand on that skill.
Another example is Emily Dickinson. All of her poems and all of her writing was only discovered and published after her death. Another example of that is Kafka. It was published by either his friend or his brother, I believe, after his death because he died early. So the implication is that something being very hard to do or very popular or something like that doesn't have anything necessarily to do with it. Like if people find value in something, even if it's not found immediately, that value still exists.
Every song you hear, every movie you watch is the result of thousands of hours of trial and error. You can fail 1,000,000 times and use that experience to finally succeed. Making a video using generative AI does not teach you anything about making videos. It's not like...
But the goal isn't to learn about making videos. The goal is to make a video. That's not the goal.
You could type 500 Sora prompts and then take everything you've learned to go shoot a movie. There's zero correlation there. Generative AI is only about the end product, but it won't teach you anything about the process it would take to get there. And I think what the...
Why would somebody need to know about the process if they only care about the end product? Why would somebody care about the end product? What's the inherent value of the end product? Or sorry, the process to somebody who cares? Like, for example, like I don't care how my phone was made. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care how my monitor was made. It's not relevant. All I care about is my monitor, like, I mean, obviously, like, you know, outside of, like, safety concerns, right, logically. But outside of that, like, it doesn't matter to me, like, what is the, I don't know, it could be a fairy that's trapped inside my monitor. That, like, you know, it just, every time I push that button, the fairy's like, ah, shit, I gotta work again. Whether it's a fairy, silicon, LCD, OLED, it doesn't matter to me. A hamster, it's the same function. I know that there's a lot of people that are upset about this, and I think that it's funny. You really don't care about how McDonald's is made? To the effect that it's not... So, yes and no, right? So, yes, in terms of safety. No, in terms of the way that, like, it's actually made outside of safety. So food is very different because there's, like, a secondary component that, like, could hurt you if it's bad. And that's what I said before about, like, outside of safety concerns. Where do you stand on lab-grown meat, then? I don't have an opinion on it, to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't know enough about it.
These tech people will never understand is that finally figuring something out that you've been obsessing over, turning a blank Word document into multiple pages of something you're proud of, is the fun part. That's what's rewarding about making.
For you.
Making stuff is figuring it out on your own or with a group of people and getting to share in that feeling. Can AI tools help you figure out things?
And also, if you enjoy the process, how are AI tools threatening? Yeah, nobody's stopping you from doing it. Here's a great example of that. So photography, guess what happened to photorealistic art after photography was invented? And like, you know, portrait painters, you know, went all the way down, right? Nobody gives a shit about them anymore, right? But here's what happens. You have somebody else come in and you still see photorealistic art being made because some people enjoy that process truly. But what I think the reality is that most people that say that they enjoy the process don't actually enjoy the process. They enjoy the outcome of that process, which is money. And I think that if you took money out of the conversation of AI and you just looked at it as an abstract form of art that would have no relation to somebody's job, nobody would be complaining about it. I think that all of the frustration and like anger about AI is primarily, and not all of it, right, with like people's likeness being used. There's that subset as well. But I'm saying aside from that, all of this is contingent that people need to have a job. I think that if you took that out of the perspective, it would be totally different. I was talking about things you don't care, like he knows everything. A lot of people think that they've got an opinion. I'll read some opinions from you guys, you know, some disagreeers at the end of the video. I don't want to do that right now. Let me finish the video.
Faster? Sure, but it's not going to feel as rewarding. I understand how...
Why would people care about things feeling rewarding? And also, I will give a point to his argument. So, cake mix used to... You could actually correctly make a cake mix without making the eggs and the milk with the cake mix, having that actually inside of the mix in itself, and that process was not necessary. But because people did not enjoy that and they felt like it was too artificial, they took that out of the process. Yeah, milk. No, I'm serious, right? Food science, yeah. They took this out of the process, and then you add the milk and the eggs yourself, so it feels like you're making a cake. That's probably the best argument for what he's saying.
A shortcut can be, especially when you go online and you see all these other people doing cool things and you're like, man, I'll never be that talented. It would take me like 10 years to learn how to make music like that. Okay, that's fine. What's the rush? Just start right now. Don't worry about how long it's going to take. Just take the first step. How are you ever going to do something for 10 years if you won't even do it for one day? Maybe you won't be good at something the first time you do it. You probably won't. But every time you improve, that's something that you can feel proud of. That's something that you did. Call me stubborn, but I would rather make something shitty on my own than watch a computer make something good. Right? A funny script.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think that's to say it's different for everybody, right? Some people feel that way. Some people don't feel that way. I don't think that his mindset is... I think that his mindset is totally valid, but the opposite mindset is also totally valid. That's the concern that I have. I think that what he's saying, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can have that opinion. But I don't think that you can invalidate other people that don't have those same values. Because, like, there are the same people that are saying, like, there are people that would very easily say, oh, you're not really doing anything. Yeah, neither are you. You're just making YouTube videos talking about bullshit on the internet. Like, go get a real job where you fix cars or you're a doctor or something like that. Go be a firefighter. So I think that if you abstract this argument one step farther, you can easily categorize what he's doing in the same thing that he's saying is bad.
Script for the end of a YouTube video.
All right, folks, we've reached the end of this roller coaster ride of a video. If you survived my terrible jokes and questionable dance moves, you deserve a medal. Seriously, someone get this audience a medal. But hey, before you click away to watch cat videos, no judgment, I get it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You wouldn't want to miss out on more chaotic content like this, would you? And hey, if you have any...
This is better than half of YouTubers' outros. Hate to say it. Actually, I love to say it. It's fucking true. It's so fucking true.
Suggestions for what ridiculousness I should attempt next? Drop them in the comments below. I promise to consider them while I'm eating my 5th burrito tonight. Thanks for sticking around, you legends. Until next time, stay awesome, stay weird, and remember, life's too short to take seriously. Catch you on the flip side.
Damn, there it is. Catch you on the flip side. There it is. So I actually didn't expect to disagree with this video as much as I did. A lot of the things that he said in the video I don't really agree with. I don't think that he's right about them, and I think that he has a short-sighted approach to them. I also don't think that he's necessarily wrong by romanticizing the process of creative learning, but I do think that he's wrong in viewing the romanticization of it as the only way that you can interface with creativity. I think that a lot of people like being creative, but they don't want to develop a skill to do that because it takes them too long or they don't have the tools to do it. And that's the way that I see it. His mind is in the right place, but the arguments are weak. I don't even agree with the mind being in the right place.
More crystal is needed.
I keep changing the goalpost for re-arguing around the way. Yeah, well, anyway, I'll read some of the comments and some of the people. Time to disagree with you? Yeah, well, what do people think? Hire a studio, yeah, and this is the thing, yeah, the guy himself makes a video and then he publishes it instead of hiring a studio and getting it and putting it out to theaters. He's cutting corners and saving himself money, yeah. And this is what I'm saying, right, is that, like, a lot of these arguments, I find it to be very ironic that YouTubers are making arguments that are negative about AI, because almost every part of the core argumentation that they use was used against YouTube fundamentally, or content creation fundamentally, that they probably have videos or evidence of themselves disagreeing with 10 years ago. Or probably 15 years ago. Name one artist that didn't steal work. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you could probably think of some of them. But just in general, like, yeah, that's clearly true. Probably Ugg, the caveman. You know, nobody ever made a buffalo like he did. Yeah, the first artist. Yeah, exactly. Check out the official Toys R Us. They're using an opening AI. Yeah, I saw that already. Everything's derivative. Yeah, and I think so too. Do you think this is too much of a doomer take? I want to see AI go really far, but I'm not sure about the innovation will go all the way to the end goal. We still don't have our flying cars. But why do we not have flying cars? We don't have flying cars. Make sure to give the video a like. I mean, again, I disagree with some things, but it was a good video. It's because flying cars didn't prove to be useful. That's the reason why. And they're regulated. And also, like, the idea of a flying car doesn't see it, like, it only seems like a good idea when you don't think about it. The functional benefit that a flying car provides is not realized. So that's why we don't have flying cars. It's not because we don't have the technology for it or something like that. There's a lot of generative AI tools and Adobe products that are now available to make life easier for us editors too. Work that before took 5 to 7 hours now takes 30 minutes to an hour. I love AI, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you work in graphic design, so you probably want to get another job soon. But, you know, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that you like AI, you know. That'll be great. That's like a sheep loving a wolf. Yeah, absolutely. AI is awesome. I love AI. You used to have a 100-person staff, and now it's about 6 people. Yeah. AI tools are only a threat if your uncreated work sucks ass. I think that that's probably true in a lot of cases, and I think that with a lot of things it will be true, in the same way that handmade materials are still popular, but they're not as popular as they used to be. So, but like people that have like high craftsmanship skill can still do that and succeed. I'll be right back. Asian Andy deals with a squatter in his sister's house. Okay.
She's been a problem everywhere she goes. It's like the second or third time I've done
Okay, great.
So right now, you need to reactivate. I will crucify you. Do you want me to take the pill or let you go off?
Don't be violent. Please don't be violent.
Fuck?
Hey,
Oh, my feet! Oh, my feet! Oh, my feet! My feet!
There he is. Hey, guys.
Love you.
I'm autistic.
More crystal is needed.
I'm gonna need some context for this.
More crystal is needed. Our cannon is itching for a target.
Anyways, I'm gonna clear off the table.
Yeah, no problem. We just sit and watch some TV.
Wait.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah.
Is there no? There's no exposition of this? So basically, this crazy lady moved into a squatter in his sister's house. So this is just like some random lady that moved in? How the fuck does that even happen? Just watch it? Okay, I'm just gonna watch it. The pinned comment.
I'm gonna clear off the table.
Okay, all right, so there is a pinned comment explaining it. Hey guys, to address the questions, she was an Airbnb guest and booked 28 days and made up some fake stuff saying that she was allowed longer than 30 days so she can get squatters' rights, and then she pretended to be a tenant to the cops and they couldn't do anything. She's been squatting since the 1990s and she knows what she's doing. She's gone to court tons and tons of times and has a track record of just wasting people's, police's, and the court's time. Her plan was to try to stay here and drag it out in court and just have a place to stay for a bit and to destroy.
We'll destroy every last one of them.
All right, now we have the exposition.
We'll see it done.
No problem. We just sit and watch some TV.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put any psycho in here.
Extra Mom, is that ugly bitch still there? Golly, honey, I know you're fat, but you don't need to stoop that big. Love you.
Oh my god.
I'm autistic.
I'm autistic. Oh, yeah.
Okay, enjoy.
I think she has less teeth than I do.
It'd be real nice to listen to some music right now.
Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh, there she is.
What's the media for? Are you making a movie? We're gonna be on TV.
Yeah, you sure are.
The awkward thing is there's one squatter and there's one not squatter, and I feel really bad for the girl that's not squatting. She was a really nice Asian girl.
Uh-huh.
Really fun girl. It's really f***ed up situation.
No, bitch. Damn. There it is. There it is. Media share speaker. He moves it closer to her room. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I love how she's trying to look at her face, bro. She's trying to act like she's having a good time. Oh no, bro. Bro, this is the personification of when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. And the fact that there's 4 parts of this is so fucking amazing.
Your orders. Free cremation.
Yeah. Huh? Uh-huh. Yeah, turn it down. It's down. Yeah. She doesn't know that it's from the other speaker.
It's at 4.
It's at 4. Yeah. Is she so fucking retarded that she doesn't know that it's not coming from the TV? She doesn't even know that it's not coming from the TV.
Complete, Commander.
Oh my god! This is so good!
I think it's his. I'm watching the TV.
Yeah. That's, oh yeah.
I think he has a hearing thing. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm watching the TV
Can't be that loud. Yeah, it can be. It absolutely can be. She's hoping somebody else complains instead.
I don't know if you want to. You pay off the neighbors now. We've been all neighbors since we've been children.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. My freaking next door neighbor used to be my duty teacher.
Yep.
And the person that owned the house before that.
Yeah, they're probably on his side.
We were childhood friends with.
Yep.
And, you know, my brother would shoot him down. Pretty high. I smoked a blunt before this blunt. So I basically smoked third blunt. And I brought 5 more. I pre-grounded like half an ounce of weed.
God damn! Uh-oh.
I gotta make sure.
You don't have to tell us twice.
Jeez.
Research complete. Hey, Commander.
Oh god.
My ears really fucked up.
Oh man.
This might be some of the greatest content I've ever done in my life. This could be legacy.
I remember I met this guy. It was at DreamHack Austin. And DreamHack Austin 2018 Ice Poseidon RV trip, cameramaned by yours truly, Mizkif. And I met Mizkif for the first time. I think I met Ice for the first time. I met Asian Andy for the first time. And I met Chad, Anything for Views, from his podcast. He does that. He still does that now. And Cold Ones, I think. I met all of them that day. What a day. What a fucking day. That's great. It's so fucking great.
I love this 10 p.m. voice noise complaints. We don't want to deal with the cops. I'll get out of here. Look what she did with this new house.
Damn. Oh, bro, like, god damn. What the fuck is this bitch trying to do?
Terrible. I know how to blunt, but you know, I mean, I was,
damn.
you know what I'm saying.
Oh.
The world of Elden Ring is filled with mysterious forces, but perhaps the most intriguing are the Outer Gods, eldritch beings that attempt to influence the lands between. Among these, the one that has always fascinated me the most is the Formless Mother, a sinister entity that communicates entirely through blood, leading her followers to become obsessed with its spilling. Mohg, who becomes her most devoted servant, communes with her through blood incantations and dreams of establishing a new dynasty, the Mohgwyn dynasty, and with him as the Lord of Blood. Like the other demigods, Mohg claimed a great rune, and staked his claim as the next lord, hoping to usher in the rule of the Order of Blood. Yet Mohg's story in the base game ended when the Tarnished killed him and claimed his rune. Thankfully, Shadow of the Erdtree has expanded on the Lord of Blood story, adding more details about his motivations, ultimate fate, and insights into the culture of those who follow him, thanks to Ansbach. In this lore video, I want to provide a comprehensive overview of Mohg's entire story, and an analysis of the Formless Mother, from the Blood Fiends to the collapse of the Mohgwyn dynasty. At the beginning of this video, I want to give a massive shout out to the artist Eugenia Liza, whom I commissioned to create the fantastic Mohg and Formless Mother renders you will see throughout this video. This was a massive undertaking for Eugenia, so I would really appreciate it if you checked out her channel and socials linked below. With that said, remember to like and subscribe, and let us dive into the lore. Before we get into today's video, I would like to give a brief word from today's sponsor, me, as I am happy to announce my Elden Ring lore book, Grace Given. I have worked with the folks at Toon and Fairweather to translate my love for the Elden Ring lore into book form, which represents my appraisal of the entire lore of the base game, clocking in at 500 plus pages. The result is this beautiful collector's item, adorned with the art of Shimhack, Menace LG, Elliot Wells, and Chris Lewis Lee. This is just the initial limited launch, and down the line there will be more affordable paperback or e-editions. Check it out at the pre-order link below if you think this would be something you are interested in. Thanks for listening, and now back to the lore. Mohg's audience with the Formless Mother in the Shunning Grounds is the event that kickstarts his story, making it essential to understand this entity first and foremost. Thanks to the DLC, we have new lore that can further illuminate the nature of this being. To address the obvious, the Formless Mother is one of the beings known as the Outer Gods. There are few direct mentions of Outer Gods in the base game, but one of the 8 instances refers specifically to the Formless Mother. This reference is found in the description of Mohgwyn's sacred spear, which reads as follows: Trident of Mohg, Lord of Blood. A sacred spear that will come to symbolize his dynasty. As well as serving as a weapon, it is an instrument of communion with an outer god who bestows power upon accursed blood. The Mother of Truth desires a wound. This, of course, immediately opens up one of the most debated topics in Elden Ring's lore community. What exactly are the Outer Gods? I have discussed different possibilities in numerous videos, and I think it would be somewhat redundant to front-load this video with every possible interpretation of these beings. Instead, I would direct you to the videos you can see now on the screen, but for now, let's focus specifically on what we know about the Formless Mother, and let the conclusions form naturally. The most basic aspect of this being is revealed in her 2 interchangeable names, the Formless Mother and the Mother of Truth. There are many intriguing things to explore here, and one that stands out to me is the use of Mother in both titles, implying it is a significant aspect of her nature. As we delve into this topic, I believe you'll see that the Formless Mother has a particularly intimate relationship with many of her adherents. Varé, for example, paints a rather positive picture of the dynasty, frequently using the word love, not to mention his romanticized bouquet weapon, which turns the blood rose into a symbol of both love and violence. The nurturing element of the Formless Mother is evident in her direct and close communion with her select followers, and this influence trickles down into the mantras and practices of the dynasty itself, which we will cover later. The aspect I want to focus on next is the formless nature of this god, as this is something we can observe for ourselves when characters directly interact with her. For example, the weapon art of the Mohgwyn spear is called Bloodboon Ritual, and when used the bearer thrusts the spear into nothing, and yet the spear finds purchase and blood flows seemingly from nowhere. Its item description confirms that one is stabbing the body of the Formless Mother, with the resulting blood flame being her blood. During Mohg's fight, when he initiates his blood curse, he is directly wounding the Formless Mother. Her body is formless and omnipresent. No matter where one is, this incantation allows communion with the Formless One. This seems to be a unique characteristic of this particular outer god, as there is no uniformity of form among these deities. For example, the outer god of rot appears to have once taken the form of a scorpion. We can assume that the form an outer god takes is reflective of the element they represent.
Our cannon is itching for a target. So be it. They're cruising for a bruising.
My lords, today we discuss the Adhikaria Convention of Benevolence, a brand new and exciting precursor empire, and one who has appeared to have undergone a psionic ascension, seemingly melding psionics with Shroud and Storm technologies, creating something that was not even remotely benevolent. I shall detail the report on how we found them for you now. We picked up a series of strange electronic signals inside the Scorimax system. Preliminary data shows these transmissions could be upwards of 1,000 years old. Our crews are keen to find out their origins, and thus we are investigating further. And quite quickly we established that the strange signals that we detected within this system are originating from an ancient communication station orbiting the gas giant Scorimax 1. The messages appear to be old broadcasts from a forgotten civilization, and as a result our science teams are having some difficulty in deciphering them. They're suggesting that we board the station to interface with the transmission mainframe directly, and so onto the station we went. We found the ancient communication station still active. By boarding the site and directly interfacing with its systems, we hope to be able to decipher its previous broadcasts. It has all the markings of some sort of propaganda proliferation station. Boarding the station, however, did cause a few problems. Navigating the structure was quite difficult. While it's surprisingly well preserved, in due part to the advanced composition of the external shielding, the narrow corridors and low ceilings proved a challenge for our team. The interior of the outpost provided few clues as to the nature of its former owners, save for the large sheets of paper-plastic mixture decorating the walls. The posters depict a stylized imagery of individuals of an unknown organic species. Their appearance was notable, standing tall and resolute before a background of conquest and celebration. The visuals were clearly designed to instill a sense of pride and kinship. The transmission mainframe itself is just as much as a mystery. Initially, our engineers believed it to be analog in nature, akin to what we've seen in pre-FDL cultures. However, beneath the buttons and dials lay a complex arrangement of electronic circuitry, made from alloy yet unknown to us. Our scientists suspect the civilization may have skipped several steps of development in computing science, which explains the anachronistic mix of technologies. Nevertheless, after a series of trial and error, our linguists have now managed to decipher the first of many recorded broadcasts. The transcript reads, "People of the Adhikaria Convention, I speak not to you as a leader, but as a friend and mentor. It could not have gone unnoticed that the days are darkening and the skies turn bitter. Even the stars themselves are hostile. But I have faith. As our benefactors had faith in us, I have faith in our purpose. I have faith in you. For centuries, our people have protected the stars from the worst of the barbarian hordes. It is our destiny to save the galaxy from these malicious forces, and our destiny is not going to be undone by a single setback. We will not be marred by the malevolent legions conspiring against us. I believe in our mission. The Adhikaria Convention of Benevolence brings truth and freedom to all civilizations. It is our mission that preserves us. It is our fate that allows us to triumph and thrive. And so, my fellow friends, let us not give in to doubt. Mourn our losses, yes, honor the fallen, and then let us come together, as we always have done, for our benefactors, for the Adhikaria Convention, for benevolence."
An allied capital ship has been destroyed.
Sorting through the data uncovered on the ancient station has proven a most daunting task for our linguists. However, several broadcasts have been flagged as particularly revealing. With some providing a glimpse into recorded conversations, they appear to be between three parties: a news anchor, a religious figure, and a doctor. We assume that this is a recording of an interview similar to what happens in our culture. The names, however, are quite alien in nature, but I shall do my best. Ilsathani Bjerthi, the news anchor, speaks. And to discuss the recent interference from the universal community, here is the most exalted professor, Akmani Sando, and doctor of all perceived existence, Emet Inia. Most exalted professor, what is your interpretation of Unicom's demands? To which the most exalted professor replies, the demands are outrageous. The universal community continues to treat undercivilized worlds with the utmost disdain. But let me ask these self-proclaimed guardians of galactic morality, is it not more unethical to withhold life-saving technologies? To withhold those ideals that form the cornerstone of our triumphant society? How vile would we become if we allowed a world to speed towards its own demise, and not reach out to save it? To which the news anchor responds,
you fail.
All excellent points. Doctor of all perceived existence, I imagine that you must be equally outraged at the Unicorns tampering with our destiny. The Doctor of all perceived existence responds, what I have to say now may shock you. Despite the stubbornness of the organization, I think an effort should be made to study Unicom's constant, and oddly enough, it appears that the broadcast was cut off at this point. But not long after the first, we soon identified another broadcast we deemed just as noteworthy. Although clearly a dramatic work, i.e. some sort of sitcom or play script, this did provide us with some useful context for our investigations. In this clip, we appear to have two lovers who are having some sort of disagreement. It starts with the protagonist, Tamiyan Rimwan, who states, it has come to my attention that you visited Entula Saman again last night. I thought you had forsaken them in favor of our love. To which Enelka Uti responds, I assure you, it was merely a courteous visit. Know that I am committed to you and no one else. Actimian responds, that is what your mouth says, but your mind, it tells me something else, something different. Enelka is shocked and dismayed. They respond, no, not you too. Yes, I too. I discovered my psionic gifts just last night, and what I imagined would be a joyful exploration of our deepest feelings became one of despair. There is treason in your thoughts. Enelka responds one last time. You don't understand. My mind, I cannot help it. I cannot help but see this path as rational. Oh, Luan, if only your new psionic gifts allowed you to read my heart instead of my mind. Quite revealing indeed, my lords. It would appear that the Adakaria were in the process of developing psionic powers, ascending, but not altogether. Quite revealing indeed. Further to the sitcom, our linguists have also translated several more news items. They believe that this broadcast in particular is worth paying attention to. Reports coming in from the Halios system draw an increasingly dire picture. The cowardly Solfani Authority ambushed our brave Enlightenment forces. Nevertheless, our exalted leadership has stated that the process will not be interrupted. As quoted, our patrons did not give up on us, and neither shall we leave any undeveloped civilization behind. Rumours have also surfaced of a possible collaboration between the wicked barbarian authorities and representatives of Unicom. Unicom's ambassador, however, denies the interstellar community communicated with any of the barbarian oppressors and states that this is yet another instance of convenient paranoia from our exalted leadership. But with or without powerful allies, the Solfani Enlightenment process is in a critical state, and it will not be easy to turn this around. But, unfortunately, the rest of the broadcast was too corrupted to be deciphered. Our engineers have already created a copy of the database, and in time, we hope to recover more information from this long-forgotten civilization. And this was the state of play for several decades. However, upon the passing of a freak cosmic storm in the Wilco system, a site of possible archaeological significance was uncovered on the 6th planet. Early scans indicated a devastatingly unstable atmosphere where vast planetary storms dominated the landscape. Our science teams would never have expected the remnants of civilization on a world like this, and we believe that we can learn much from investigation. As such, we've prepared a landing party to investigate the planet further. Our team arrived safely on the planet and quickly got to work surveying the new surroundings. From the looks of it, the recent violent cosmic storm that plagued the system also uncovered enough layers of dust and soil to reveal the remnants of an old civilization. As our science teams delve into these archaeological findings, they were struck by the fact that the layers of sand covering the remnants were of an entirely different composition than the surrounding soil. Planetary scans indicated that these deposits come from a desert hundreds of miles away and could only have ended up here through great force, such as an extremely volatile planetary storm. Despite the strange weather conditions troubling the planet, our science teams have made great strides. But with every passing day, their discoveries have become increasingly baffling and disturbing. It began with the remnants of stonework and charcoaled organic materials. Then, torn fabrics, leatherwork, vests layered with polymers, and eventually organic remains of the planet's former inhabitants. Body after body was uncovered, their dissected organs filled with sand, and their nails worn down from struggle. Each corpse was outfitted in heavy pre-FTL military equipment and armed with projectile weapons. What we thought was an abandoned city was in fact a mass grave. It was possible that these specimens may be eons old, but due to their complete isolation from ultraviolet radiation and reactive chemicals, both the organic remains and gear have been meticulously preserved. What happened to them remains unknown. The findings on this world continue to disturb us. Our lead scientist, Hu Zhang, believes that the location is unlikely to have been a burial site, as the aliens appear to have been in good physical condition until they were suffocated within the sand. What's more, we have also uncovered a number of weapon installations capable of launching heavy ordnance. Surprisingly, they are not aimed at the surface, but instead target the depths of space itself. Whatever enemy these people were facing likely came from the stars. Sadly, our theories regarding the strange mass grave that we found have led to no useful conclusions. The only remaining lead pertained to the origins of the sand that swallowed the army whole. After performing a series of immensely complex calculations and simulations, we have determined that the very storm which brought the sands here continues to rage elsewhere on the planet. A small expedition force has set out to explore, and a violent tempest greeted them, its brutal winds having carved out a deep recess in the ground. If any answers are to be found here, they are no doubt contained within the abyss, right where the eye of the storm finds its home. Navigating the site was difficult and required the utmost skill and attention. However, in the center of the crater, and amidst the raging storm, we discovered a most unusual skeleton. The remains here are as ancient as those within the mass grave, though both the phenotype and genotype of the body are entirely different from the corpses that we found there. The skeleton's uniform was surprisingly well preserved, and it too showed significant differences in design. There were also signs that some of the appendages were deliberately removed, but most curiously were the readings from our sensors. We detected energy fluctuations around the body and from within, and these signatures bore a surprising similarity to those inside the massive storm, as well as to the cosmic storm that originally uncovered the mass grave. A theory began to form. Was this individual linked to the storms that we've encountered so far? Might they even have been responsible for the burial of the army? It seemed quite bizarre to consider, but the facts were certainly leading us this way. Cross-referencing the uniform symbols within our database produced a baffling result. The body belonged to a citizen of the Adrakaria Convention, the very same civilization whose broadcast station we explored not long ago. To our even greater surprise, the uniform, the age of the body, and the information from the broadcasts painted a surprisingly cohesive picture. We now believe that this was the world mentioned by those broadcasts. With the linguistic knowledge from the propaganda station in hand, Hu Zhang deciphered the victim's name as Haptor Galon, and only moments later, the surrounding storm rapidly increased in size and intensity. Due to the weather's highly unpredictable nature, it became too dangerous to stay, and we were forced to abandon the world to the maelstrom. The trail of the Adrakaria Convention grew cold once again. Several months passed, and we studied the storm in detail. We discovered that the energy signatures of the alien body and the planet-ruining maelstrom on Wilco 6 matched those of the cosmic storm responsible for unearthing the buried army. The scan log revealed a previously unexplored system that harbors corresponding fluctuations, and these signals were identical to the broadcasts of the Adakaria Convention. We are en route to investigate. We've entered the new system and identified ruins and strange energy fluctuations in the area that obscure a massive naval graveyard. This necropolis of polymer and metal may harbour a vital clue to understanding this lost civilization. Ships of all kind are laid to rest here, everything from oblong wooden vessels to crystalline arcs of the cosmic and ethereal. Many share similarities with the imagery found in the transmissions and logs on the broadcast station. We suspect a confrontation took place here between the Convention's fleet and that of the Unicoms, the galactic peacekeeping force from millennia ago. And yet, while these ships are beyond repair, they do not appear to be marooned by any common weaponry, nor by malfunction or similar disasters. Instead, the hulls and interiors appear to have been ripped apart, as if assaulted by a massive shredder. Our engineers carefully recovered databanks from the graveyard vessels. While much of it was ravaged by time, one, a Dracaria database has survived. It reads, "We have been waylaid. I repeat, we have been waylaid. Unicom demands we cease our elevation of the Roku Korea primitives, or face elimination. Please respond. If we do not retreat, we will be destroyed. Please at least send reinforcements." These poor souls received a simple reply. Negative. Your sacrifice will be noted. It would appear that they were abandoned to die. As our linguist translated these new broadcasts, we made another astonishing discovery. There was a frozen body floating in the center of the mass graveyard. While much of the corpse had withered, its attire is that of an officer of the Convention. Curiously, a corona of small debris was in orbit around the body, as if it exerted some sort of gravitational pull on these objects. The remains are being brought aboard for further analysis. Translation of the frozen body's name tag reveal him to be an Adrakaria member named Alata Landia. Much like the corpse found on Wilco 6, several of his appendages were surgically removed before death. However, in this case, his body was also badly burnt. His torso especially showed extreme signs of heat damage, as well as a slow and surely painful recovery. Our scientists have come to the unfortunate conclusion that these wounds bore disturbing similarities to the pre-FTL methods of extracting information from unwilling participants, i.e. torture. We wonder, was this a war veteran, or did something more sinister happen to him? No sooner had we identified the nature of these wounds, our vessel's instruments experienced a sudden, sharp power surge, and Hu Zhang began to scream. Much later, he would describe the experience as a searing of intense light, followed by a wave of devastating pain. It was as if something was trying to crack open his mind, from the inside out. During this time, we briefly lost contact with the science vessel for several minutes. No sooner had we re-established communication with the ship, we were subjected to the howling cries of its crew. Much later, after a relative calm had been restored, it was revealed that the alien body they brought aboard was responsible for the outcry. The corpse itself was exerting some strange power on their minds. Small objects rose into the air and began to orbit the body. Sections of the interior walls were warped and rent by the pressure. Hu Zhang managed to awaken from his catatonic state just in time to expunge the corpse from the vessel, and it was his quick reaction that also allowed the science ship to escape the sudden emergence of a cosmic storm. Had he not, the graveyard would have welcomed a new ship. As Hu Zhang recounted his experience, he noted something else. Whatever the source of the corpse's strange power, it also caused a very particular pattern to form on the vessel's command screens. He wonders, was this an attempt to communicate? A cry beyond the grave, perhaps? Sadly for now, we have no answers.
An Allied capital ship has been destroyed.
After Hu Zhang's experience in the ship graveyard, our scientists are even more driven to discover exactly what happened to the Adrakaria Convention. The data we gathered during our exploration of Wilco 6 and the flotilla graveyard revealed that the galaxy was littered with propaganda stations. And what's more, after a set of long discussion, We also suspect that the pattern observed in our navigation system glitching was a set of directions to a new, previously undiscovered system. The coordinates pointed to a planet in the newly discovered Ad Salival system. We are sending Hugh Zhang on a science vessel to investigate immediately, but this may give us more clues about what happened to the Adrakaria Convention. At first we feared our investigation into this system led to a dead end. The directions pointed to a planet suffering from unstable magnetic fields of such a severity that its landscape was all but decimated. It was unlikely anything of value could have survived such an onslaught. However, orbiting the planet was an ancient habitat bearing architectural similarities to the Adrakaria broadcast station. While hermetically locked from the outside, we were able to generate an entrance signal based on information recovered from the Adrakaria database. It had been eons since anyone last boarded this station, and there was no way for us to know what was inside. The station was broadcasting a single message, followed by a bombastic jingle. It said, "Welcome to the Patriotic Institute of Exalted Benevolence." Beyond the airlock stretched a small network of tunnels. At last we found our way to a massive plaza lit by an artificial sun. Strangely, the architecture of the habitat was more akin to the suburbs found on certain residential worlds than a prominent science station. The habitat was built to house entire apartment complexes, shopping centres and schools, but also pleasure gardens, parks and other leisure facilities. This place was designed for luxury living, and now, however, it was quite abandoned. Not a single organic life form was detected within the entirety of the habitat, and so we continued to explore. But we were struck by the emptiness of this place and the bleak staleness of the atmosphere. The artificial sunlight experienced occasional glitches, covering the station in darkness, and while other electronic devices were largely operational, they too were affected by these same interruptions. But most curious was the network of surveillance devices found within the apartments of the habitat. It appears that every citizen was under strict supervision. Finding a security station of some sort, we hope, will provide more insight. It took us many days to traverse and index the city aboard the station, and to uncover its surveillance apparatus. The security station turned out to be entirely sectioned off for the rest of the habitat, requiring a different entrance code altogether. Here we found rows and rows of monitors still hooked up to the mass surveillance apparatus. Those still functional showed us every corner of the station, and yet they too were affected by these electrical glitches. Hugh Zhang reported feeling agitated from witnessing the disruptions, as it reminded him of our previous encounter with the Adrakaria Convention at the Naval Graveyard. But most disturbingly was our discovery of the central security hub. According to the alarming messages displayed on the screens, this habitat had been set to self-destruct. Our engineers assumed that whatever malfunctions were plaguing the city prevented the command from being executed. We swiftly deactivated the self-destruct routine and set our linguist to decipher any logs that we could recover. Curiously, this station's reports ceased almost a year before the last record recovered from the propaganda station. Our team of linguists did not take long to discover the purpose of the habitat. Logs and messages from citizens and staff alike describe investigations into the newly emerged psionic powers of the Adrakaria citizens. All of those living here received invitations from the convention's exalted leadership to enjoy a life of luxury and self-expression aboard the habitat. In return, they agreed to participate in the station's ongoing experiments. Most of the citizens were keen to join the program. The security logs show that many were disabled war veterans. They were promised care, financial assistance and pardons for any outstanding legal issues that they may have had. What's more, the station's personnel list contained a very familiar name, Alatia Landir, a scientist and disabled veteran whose amputated body was the one that we recovered at the Naval Graveyard. We deciphered one of the last messages that was sent from the habitat. It was sent by C. Danny, Itemper, to what we assume is a family member, though the relationship is unclear, but they share the same last name. The recipient was Sizul, Itemper. The message reads, "Hello, I'm alive. Sorry for the delays. Ever since the habitat is behaving strangely, so sending messages has been hard. They say it has nothing to do with that, but we think he was psionically gifted after all. As for me, I told you I wasn't really getting anywhere with all the previous, so they suggested trying out something more radical. Cosmic storms. I know what you've been thinking, but it's just one digit, and maybe I'll even grow it back. But the sensations I've unlocked when... All my love, Sedani. There is a note on the message. This transmission was censored. The next message was sent from a Hathor Galon, and it stated, Dear Adele, life has been treating me well. I met a few other veterans. We don't talk much, but we all know. It's nice not having to talk. Today I only had to think of lifting a cup, and I did it. I still missed my right appendage, but maybe this new life won't be as bad as I feared. I heard them talk about sending me to... Apparently I'm a psionic prodigy. I want to be deployed again. I hope to be home for Patriots Day. Let's meet up. This transmission was also censored. The next transmission is from an N. Reader Dyrene, again to what we assume to be a parent or sibling, or perhaps partner. It reads, I stopped a fire with my mind. One of the other subjects went all hysterical for some reason and caused a fire to break out in the mess hall. Everyone else was just panicking, but we couldn't go anywhere. I was super scared, but then something happened inside of me, and I just made it go away. I saved everyone. Tell the elders I'm not an entirely hopeless case. This transmission was not censored, but blocked entirely. Most notably the second transmission, from a Hathor Galon, we assume to be the same Hathor Galon's body that we discovered previously. The next set of messages we have are translated a few days before the evacuation of the habitat. These are from a Supreme Doctor to a revered Admiral. And they state, Your last message caused concern here. Would you be so kind as to explain why, after supporting us for all these years without comment, you're suddenly threatening to shut us down? The Admiral responds, You've got to be kidding me. For months we've been sending you warnings, but I guess orbiting a capricious world must have caused some convenient amnesia. You are aware that Unicom is threatening our very existence, and with this war ramping up, I can no longer defend spending exorbitant resources just for you and your subjects to stare at cattle all day. I need tangible, applicable results. Now. The Doctor responds, Forgive us. We never received your earlier messages. Our station has been plagued by technical glitches. This must have affected our transmissions as well. Regardless, we need more time. We have processes and protocols in place. We can't just abandon them. The Admiral responds once more. You have 1 week, or else we will proceed to immediate shutdown. No ifs, no buts, no second chances. Results. The final message was sent from the Doctor to the Admiral. Attached you'll find a report of our recent accomplishments. These videos prove that cosmic storms can be influenced by our psionically gifted subjects. This could have staggering military applications. Given enough time, we can supercharge their psionic expression without having to subject them to physical and mental trauma. Sadly for the Doctor, the transmission failed to send. We did, however, find one last message. This one was an internal message, however, and was the last recovered message from the station. It reads, Dear colleagues, I address you with a heavy heart. Exalted Command has decided to cease all operations inside the Patriotic Institute of Exalted Benevolence. This should not be taken as an indictment of you or your work. It has been an honor to serve with each and every one of you. I know that you will have many questions, but in short, the expectations of Exalted Command did not align with our research aims. As for our citizens, Exalted Command invited them to join the program at the Patriotic Institute of Celebration on Absol. You will find a full personnel list attached below. Please inform your reports accordingly. As for the others, regrettably, the covert nature of our research means that the research participants will not be allowed to return to society proper. Exalted Command promised to send a special unit to take care of them. You will not need to see to this yourselves, which is, in its own way, a blessing. Their relatives will be compensated to the fullest. Signing off, Supreme Doctor. Alata Landia. The attached list, while partially corrupted, mentions the subjects Hathor Galon, Enrider Dareen, and it appears that they were both transferred to the Adrakaria Convention's capital of Ad-Sol. The coordinates to this world are now in our possession, and thus we set course to the Convention's homeworld. Good luck, we will find something quite wonderful there. Upon entering the Ad-Sol system, it became apparent that it was engulfed in a particularly dense cosmic storm. We did everything possible, but getting to the planet proved to be a much bigger challenge than anticipated. And in the most bizarre turn of events, the storm hailed us. A message was repeated by the storm, and it came through over and over again. It simply said, "Speak our names." We attempted to respond, but got little but garbled rubbish back. The key message continued to be repeated, "Speak our names." Over and over it repeated. We asked several questions before getting any results. We asked them where we could find the names it wished us to speak, to which the message changed. It said, "Celebration," over and over again. Our sensors, however, pinged a change in the storm, and a small part of the planet, Ad-Sol, the planet that we had come here for, was revealed to us. Between the remnant clouds stood a massive complex, abandoned, and yet strangely unaffected by time. Scans revealed organic matter on the inside, and rising before the immense building was a series of banners bearing a single proclamation. It is time for celebration. The empty halls of celebration revealed nothing more than the dust of ages. The propaganda posters, forever exalting the valor of the Adrakaria Convention, were all that was left of the once thriving and feared empire. However, our linguistic efforts are already paying off. Security was merely a suggestion, and the mainframe gave up its secrets easily. The logs that we recovered were bustling with activity right up to the last of the propaganda station's broadcasts. And on that day, the Adrakaria Convention simply ceased to exist. With a hint of dread and curiosity, we delved into the subterranean levels of the compound. A sprawling, carefully planned web of laboratories greeted us. Our unit split in two. One half was sent to investigate the laboratories for more insight into the purpose of the celebration. The other continued its descent. Our scans insisted on the presence of organic material, and it didn't take long to uncover why. The lower levels of celebration were given over exclusively to observation cells. The mummified remains of Adrakarian citizens were still imprisoned in these cramped compartments. A digital interface next to each chamber offered each occupant's name, the phase of the trial they were subject to, and the observer's notes. Meanwhile, we recovered the following message. Our trial run in the Helios system was a complete and utter disaster. The initial deployment of the subject, known as Hathor Galon, went as planned. As soon as we were confronted by the Solfani barbarian forces, the subject lost control. While the Tempest wiped out the primitive armies, ours too were decimated. It should be understood that above all, these subjects are vile and disturbed. The sooner the Invocator is online, the better. All we can wonder at this point is what is the Invocator, and what was going on here. The dread and confusion we experienced at witnessing the remains of the victims was quite daunting, but so was our desire to comprehend the extent and purpose of the Convention's experiments. In a stark and sterile tone, the Adrakarian scientists reported what they had done to these people. Each victim was assigned a phase, and as the phases increased, so did the brutality of their treatment. Fire, electricity, maiming, deprivation of senses, and sustenance. Nothing was too cruel. Everything for the sake of the glorious mission to maintain the Adrakarian supremacy in the galaxy. Still, reports indicate that even these obscenities may not have ultimately killed the subjects. Much like with Hathor Galon, many seem to have simply given up. Just moments after our observations, Huzang collapsed. Between wails of pain, he screamed that something was breaking into his mind. Though stable for now, it seems as if some invading entity sought to instill him with radical insight. Huzang is keen to try again, believing the experience could ultimately have a profound effect. We allowed him to indulge, for the good of the Commonwealth, after all. As Huzang continued to observe the bodies, he described being able to hear a strange whisper. He heard a disembodied voice that called out with a great longing, and it told him, We were loyal. We praised the convention and believed its mission. The storms kept calling us. They engulfed us, desired us. We did what they asked. They were talented and tenacious. They called us evil. They called us traitors. They killed our friends. This was meant to be a celebration. The Whispers led us to a corridor labelled the final phase, but the more advanced security measures in place did not permit us access. It did not take us long to crack this security, and inside we found a recording of Silent Whispers. They read, "Get me out of here. I was an upstanding citizen. My dreams are now nothing but an endless storm. It calls to me. I don't understand. We excelled at our tasks. Why are they doing this to us? Inside all of us lies power. They want to exploit that power. We mustn't give it to them. Nonsense. They're doing this to save the convention. We must comply." The satellites whisper to me. I can reach my mind now across the galaxy. I saw they designed something that they could do to anyone, anywhere. We will be saved. Just give them what they want. You don't understand. If they do this to us, they'll do it to everyone. We could unleash ourselves, but that means they'll kill us anyway. Once that thing is operable, they'll kill us all. I'm scared. I don't want to die. I want to live. Please. The final phase is speaking to me. They want to know if we agree. Disturbing indeed. We continue to explore deeper into the complex. We have discovered an enormous hangar. An incredibly complex constellation of wires, pipe, and electronics dominated the space. All of them led towards a massive, though empty, missile silo. For all appearances, this web has been connected to an object roughly the size of a Corvette. Logs state that this place was used to assemble an apparatus called the Tempest Invocator, and that it had been deployed successfully in the Absol system. While contact with the Invocator was disrupted, the power supply remains in place. As we perceive the empty construct, the Whispers began again. You see it, don't you? At first we did not know what they were building. We didn't know that they would dispose of us. Some wanted revenge. Some of us wanted to be free. Some felt the call of the storms. It had to end, you understand. We had to. We could not take it any longer. At last, Celebration reveals the last of its secrets to us, the final phase. In these hallways, desiccated husks of Adrakaria personnel are laid spread across the floor, ripped to shreds by pieces of stone, metal, and plastic. Something had raged within these corridors, decimating anything and anyone in its way. But the true horror was yet to come. Tight holding cells imprisoned half a dozen individuals. View screens described them as Invocator power supply, but these were clearly juvenile citizens of the convention. Their little frames surrounded by dozens of tubes and cables. The fluid within these cells kept them in a state between life and death, and their bodies were surrounded by a force only akin to the energies within the lingering storm of the Absol system. The few remaining screens jumped to life, each displaying one single request. Speak our names. Speak our names. We recorded the names of these young people. The last, however, gave us pause. Henri de Doreen, the individual from the Exalted Benevolent who had calmed fire with her mind. Now we had these names, we hoped that we could contact the Cosmic Storm once more. And so we left the planet and headed back into the swirling cosmic storm above. As before, the storm made contact with us. The voices scream at us. They would not stop applying pain, rage, grief, and fear. They were teeth. They were jaws. They were devouring, spitting us out, bringing pain and rage and grief and fear. We unraveled. We uncame. We became pain and rage and grief and fear. Indulgent, entitled and merciless and proud, cruel and driven, we brought death and suffering. We had to. We travelled the broadcasts, corrupt the signal, corrupt the minds, white out, grey out, black out, succumb to the darkness, scatter across the stars, and never heard of again. We are a shield. Shield you. We formed a cradle. Cradle it, and rock it into oblivion. Sleep. Perish, Tempest Abominator, and never wake again. Speak our names. Speak our names. Speak our names now. We recited all the names we found during our excavation, and as we spoke the last one, the storm fell silent. Several minutes passed before we heard from the storm again, and it said, "We can think again. So many voices around us, so many unique people. You have returned our sanity, yet providing our names to us gives you a hold upon us. What do you require from us? Please let us go." It would appear that we had a choice to make. We could free these poor trapped souls, or we could force the storm to submit its powers to us and gift us the Tempest Invocator that had enslaved them since death. We chose to force these poor souls to submit, and we took the Tempest Invocator as our own. The rage of the spirits were heard throughout the cosmos, a psionic shockwave of pain, rage, grief, and fear. Hu Zhang, who had been the lead scientist throughout this ordeal, was caught whispering, "Rave all you want, our forever servants," though he would later deny it. The storm wreathed and seethed in its impotent rage, yet it could do no harm to us, or the Tempest Invocator. We commanded the voices trapped within to provide us a way through the maelstrom, and we claimed the convention's greatest achievement as our own. The Adrikaria homeworld would remain unobtainable to us, but the words of the storm's bellowing remained in our minds. Pain, rage, grief, and fear. A dark end to this story, my lords. However, we do now have access to an incredibly powerful cosmic relic, one that for the life of a scientist will allow us to generate a Nexus storm and target it towards any star system we wish. This power is not to be underestimated. Dare we invoke the Tempest Fury inside one of our best and brightest? For the glory of the Commonwealth, sacrifice must be made. Thanks for watching, folks. If you want to learn about the other new precursor, the Initian Traders, then please click the video on screen now. My lords, today we are going to cover what I believe to be the best 5 rewarding dig sites in the galaxy, and I shall cover their stories at the same time. At the start of each chapter, I'll discuss the dig site and the reward that it gives you, and then detail the event in full. We'll begin with number 5, which is X-Bellon and the Memorax. The Memorax, as you'll find out, is a powerful piece of ancient technology. Upon completing the event, your capital receives a 20% increase to resource from jobs and 10% additional stability. Both of these are quite marvellous boons to your empire, and while very strong, won't be quite as strong as some of the other rewards on the list. The device is able to enhance your population's learning capability by training them while they sleep. The story of how you found the device is quite dark, however, and I shall detail it for you now. During exploration of the Marvel system, we identified an anomaly on the planet Marvel 6. At first sight, the world was covered in only snow and ice, vast expanses of impenetrable white glass lakes, and jagged turquoise glaciers. Here, the seas lie still, and the snow untouched. The only sound was the wind howling across the plains. Despite this, we found evidence that Marvel 6 was someone's home. In the midst of a wide, barren field, the black metal framework of a steeple protruded from the white mass. We intend to investigate and discover what forgotten secrets are buried beneath the snow. Our archaeological teams quickly set about the dig site and uncovered the remains of a modest temple. It was delicately carved from an organic alien material. The exterior was once brightly coloured, but has since turned into a dull grey. Bizarrely, a fully operational holographic priest was functional, and seemed to be presiding over the church. The programming of the hologram was quite limited. It appears that it was designed to take confessions from wayfaring travelers and offer healing, reconciliation, and sanctuary. Furthermore, our teams have identified mechanical confessional chairs, which seem to double as torture devices. Perhaps there's more to the temple than meets the eye.
Ready to pack a punch.
We have found a secret crypt hidden under the floor tiles of the church. The walls are lined with thousands of tiny blue digital orbs. Their circuitry glitters in the dark. Our science team figured out that they can be plugged into a cryptic-looking machine at the center of the room. During experimentation, they discovered that these blue orbs contain the literal memories of a single confession. Horrifyingly, it appears that those who confessed their sins were blessed with ignorance. The memories of their deeds were extracted and stored within these digital blue orbs, and this was done by the confessional torture chairs. We think this procedure did not kill the participant, as only the memory they wished to confess was removed, but it is unclear at this time.
Transfer the credits. We'll handle your enemies.
Further research into the blue orbs highlights that sin is highly unoriginal. The memory orbs contain countless accounts of tedious little transgressions, infidelity, bearing sacrilegious garb, exposing flappers, whatever they are, adorning one's feelers, ingesting your neighbour's pet, child, or spouse. Most of the transgressions could be viewed with a humorous light. They remind me of learning about an ancient race of humans known as the Romans, who inscribed the misdeeds of others on stone tablets in the hope that some god would come and curse them. In any case, the deeds of one alien stand out, the priest running the church. The program, as it turns out, is a virtual representation of the church's founder, named the Illuminate Sahara. She appears to have suffered from severe memory loss and was haunted by the conviction that she had committed a heinous act in the past. The tiny molluscoid priest extracted and stored over 100 of her own confessions in an attempt to figure out what she had done. Her workstation was littered with obsessive scribbles regarding a world that she referred to as Ex Bellum, and the apparent horrors that she witnessed there. Judging from her journal, she had intermittent moments of clarity, followed by complete memory loss. She writes that if she did not recognize her own handwriting, she would have thought it was the ramblings of a madwoman. It seems highly likely that her deteriorating mental health was a side effect of repeated memory extraction. In any event, our science teams tell me that they have identified the approximate coordinates of the world that she described from one of her memory orbs. We shall make haste to the planet and attempt to uncover whatever secrets it bears. Upon arrival in the Idamir system, we identified an enormous habitat shrouded within Idamir 1's precious atmosphere. We believe that the habitat is the one described in the priest's ramblings. Previously, it seems to have been a bustling space city, with a multitude of comforts made available through advanced technologies. Today, however, the habitat is nothing more than a silent tomb. Dead molluscoid aliens lie slumped across the station in various states of decay. Post-mortem studies reveal that they died from asphyxiation, as the habitat's life support systems were disabled. My engineers tell me that it was disabled intentionally. Bizarrely, the domiciles on this station are all fitted with the torture chairs that we found at the church. However, there are no little blue orbs this time. Instead, they are connected to a network which ends in a gigantic orb. According to the station's log, the orb is called the Memorax. It appears that the inhabitants had developed an enhanced learning program that ran every night as they slept in their mechanical chairs. The Memorax was used to remove unpleasant memories and train new skills. Being picked last for the Spaceball team or stood up on a date were little day-to-day horrors that the occupants of this station did not have to suffer with the memory of. It appears that life was bliss, at least for a while. The station's logs show that at some point systematic mind enhancement was mandated by the Habitat leadership and distributed to all residents via the Memorax. But it seems the system was exploited. There were clandestine efforts to delete memories and traits collectively from the population without their consent, and it eventually backfired. The aliens began to heavily regress, unlearning important skills for their survival, and they eventually entered a vegetative state. Shortly after this occurred, someone or something turned off the station's life support. thus causing the mass suffocation of its occupants. Further investigation into the station's logs revealed that its control systems were activated once again, on multiple occasions decades after the life support was first disabled. Someone